Tuesday. No, today's Monday. Oh man. Which one's that's left. That's right. Alright. Today's Monday. Dang it. Oh man. I was hoping it was Wednesday. I was listening to Otto, second album. What's it called? Zamu? Something like that. That shit is good, man. I forgot how good her second album was. Yeah, I love this song too, though. Zamu is such a good album. I've been listening to Otto again because of the World Cup. Because she's like Japan ambassador for the World Cup. And I think that's tight. I think that's super cool. Can I get the rest of this water? What's up, John? I'm going to chill before I start some Mahoyo. Oh man. Yeah, what the hell? Get this NVIDIA app out of my way. I was updating my graphics card. It's because my computer blue screen on my ass. I panicked. I was like, oh fuck, blue screen! So I just powered it off, wait 1 minute and power it back on, and it was okay. I think it's time. I might need a new computer soon. I don't know. I'll wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit more until, obviously, I don't know. I guess the market goes down or something. Gagged love. Is this hentai? Sexual content? Hentai? Yeah. Alright, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't acknowledge it. Don't hover over it. Let's see. I gotta be careful going down. Some of these shits are hentai. And that shit would show a titty. Mole? Goblin Company? Wet Wealth? Tells us sake you. Fuck you. Bistro. 33 Immortals. Eh. None of them look cool. Meh. That remind me. Stellaris. I keep thinking about this amp. It's a headphone amp. And I always want to own one of these. It's called DNA, I think. I think it's DNA. And they're blue. The Stellaris uses a 283 tube. But they come out with a new one, I think like last year, called a Supernaut. They use like KT88 tubes. And I'm kind of interested. Because KT88 tubes are cheaper. But the amp itself is still pretty expensive. You don't see it going sell too much as well for the used market. That's pretty cool. Nothing to look at Steam. It's the same old, same old. Anything happen in I guess Twitter or whatever? You say none of these games interest you? Yeah, none of them look interesting. What's this? Now that's when you find out the dev team nude model of Gilgamesh. Okay. What's this? I don't know what this is. Is that a review website? Schrodinger? Call? I don't know. List of accessibility features for Persona 6? Alright. That's a PS6 PlayStation Store for Persona 6. Can't see anything. The demo for Xenonia 1 is out. 2009 mobile game. 2009? What the fuck? They had mobile games in 2009. I gotta think about this. I guess it did have mobile games in 2009. Yeah, I remember. It's hard to fucking remember. Fuck, that shit was almost 10 years ago. Man. Oh, that shit was almost 20 years ago. Oh, fuck. I forgot. It's 2026. Oh, fuck. Damn. That was almost 20 years ago. Nine had mobile games. Come on, Google. Yeah! Angry Birds! Doodle Jump! Flight Control! Angry Birds was 2009. What about Brave Frontier? I remember playing that one. No? Oh, that was 2013. Okay. 2009? Does 2009 have cell phones? Oh, my bad. Not cell phones. I meant touch phones. They had touch phones in 2009? Oh, that's the fucking iPhone, the 3GS? I couldn't afford that shit. Okay, that makes sense, actually. That's when that shit was expensive. I mean, it's still expensive, but... I mean, yeah, I guess. I didn't have an iPhone in 2009. I had an iPod. Because it was cheaper. iPhones was so fucking expensive. 2009? I don't know. Did I know anyone that had a touch phone in 2009? I don't even fucking remember. I don't think so. I think 2012 and after. That's when touch phones. When did touch phone became popular? You never heard of Brave Frontier? That was way back then. Late 2009? Yeah, 2002, 2013. Yeah, see, I said it too. 2012. I didn't say 2012, not 2002. I said it. I remember a lot of people had touch phones after 2012. It became mainstream in 2012 and 2013. Yeah, that makes sense because that's how I remember it too. 2009, not a lot of people had touch phones. But that shit was expensive, right? And the only person that had it is Apple. Apple products was fucking expensive too. Besides getting an iPod, I guess. I guess iPods were pretty expensive compared to like an MP3 player. Because I had an MP3 player too. I had both an MP3 player and an iPod. And then I went back to getting an MP3 player. Because fucking iPod. But then, yeah, I didn't really remember seeing anyone with a touch phone before 2012. At least in my circle. That shit was not common. 2012 and after, yes. I do remember that. 2012 and after. Is Google listening to me? Is Google just answering because that's how I wanted to answer it? I can't trust AI. I don't know if I can trust this shit anymore. I don't know if I can touch this shit. I trust it. Whatever. You think you had an iPhone before but never used that much? Because you don't really use cell phones that much, right? I remember for cell phones, the only thing I cared about was calling. I didn't really like the text feature. I think the text feature was ass because you had to like press it a lot and all that shit. They changed with an iPhone though, but I still didn't give a fuck back then. But I guess no buts. iPhones still kind of suck. I have an iPhone right now, but I don't know if I upgrade my phone, I probably won't go iPhone. I'll probably go some kind of Android. I don't know. I like the Sony phones, but the Sony phone battery is kind of ass and it overheats a lot. What's up, Skydam? Samsung. I have a Samsung Galaxy tablet. I kind of like it, but I don't know if I'll get a cell phone. I got the OLED. The OLED Samsung tablet. That shit is nice. That shit is real nice and smooth and fast and colorful. It's pretty good. I forgot what kind of tablet it is, but it's a pretty good tablet. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I didn't remember fucking mobile games in 2009. I guess I remember Flappy Bird because everyone made a big deal of trying to sell fucking their iPhone or iPod with Flappy Bird in it for like $1,000. I think that's the only thing I remember about that era. I didn't remember too much about the 2009 mobile game era. Steam Fest? Oh, okay, I guess. What's this? Dokapon. Saya plushie. Who will buy a Saya plushie in 2026? I mean, I guess it's cute, but she kind of killed a lot of people, didn't she? Didn't she like fucked over the main character life? Didn't she brutally kill the main character love interest or whatever? Like, didn't she brutally almost died? Not, she didn't die, right? Did she died? I don't remember. This character is really evil. She's like super evil. That's kind of crazy. They want a plushie of Saya, but okay. I never really hear anyone talk about Saya though, even online. What's this? Oh, this is Kevin. This is for anime. That looks pretty good. What's this called? Oh, this is early footage, so it's not done yet. I haven't watched anime in a while, but this one looks really fucking good. Looks really good. Steampunk world. That looks good. The setting looks good. The characters look good. The art looks good. Looks really interesting. I'll watch it whenever it comes out. What's this? What's this? Shoko. Episode 12. Oh, that's that yaoi anime. Yeah, I haven't watched that. I'm sure it's pretty good though. Everyone's hype about this anime. I'll watch it. I heard it's kind of fucking interesting. I heard I look at the genres. This one is kind of crazy. This one's kind of crazy, but I never read the manga. Everyone that read the manga said this is gonna be fucking tight. It's gonna be fucking tight. All right. I'll see next year. I won't read the manga. I'll watch the anime. Let's see, the anime adaptation is good though. You haven't watched too much anime either? That's because a lot of the newer animes don't really interest me, if I want to be honest. I should watch this one though. This one's on YouTube. Akane Banashi. This one always looked really fucking good. And it's unique too. I haven't watched a story like that before. Sound Euphonium. Is this anime worth getting into? I kind of want to watch it, but I don't know. I mean, I like Kyo Annie. I feel like I should watch it just because it's Kyo Annie. I don't know. I feel like I should just watch it. That's Love Live, isn't it? I always want to watch a Love Live. I never watch a Love Live. I don't know why. I watch Idolmasters. I watch Idolmaster OGs. I watched the first season of Cinderella Girls. What else did I watch for Idolmaster? Didn't I watch something else with Idolmasters? I feel like I did. But Love Live I never watched before. I don't know why. I think I tried to, but I don't know what happened. I never finished it, right? Did I ever finish it? I feel like I watched Love Live on stream. I can't remember. I know I watched Idolmasters on stream before they took it away from Crunchyroll. I was like, we're fucking watching Idolmasters. And it took us 2 days, I think, to watch in the entire Idolmasters, whatever. That shit was pretty fucking good. But I don't remember if we did that for Love Live. What's this? Saru. I want to rewatch Idolmaster's original, man. But that shit's gone. Fuck. Can't watch it. Can't bootleg it too. I should have downloaded it. Fucking regret. Ribbon Hero. That looks pretty good. You think Maki Nishikino from Love Live's the best tsundere? Tsundere. What the fuck I say tsundere? Tsundere. Oh, we've seen that before. Oh, that's the old post. Nice, nice. Jakjin. Otome. Rhythm game. Otome means girls, right? You know, like shonen? I guess. Kisa secretly enrolls in an elite all-boys drama club. School, whatever. Oh, this is like a fucking host club shit. Kinda. Probably. That sounds kinda cool. That's a game though. That's a game. Or, I don't know what it is. Is it a game? Oh, it's a rhythm game. Interesting. Okay. And not a lot. Alright, I think that's all the news. We can look at video games, but let's just play. I'm ready to play. Time. It's been 15 minutes. Let's play. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Alright, yeah, let's play. I'm ready. I don't know about you. I'm gonna play Witch and the Holy Night. This game has autosaves, so that's good. This I like this sound a lot. Damn dude, this sounds awesome as fuck. I really like it. I feel like if you never played Fate Stay Night, would you like that logo? I like it a lot, but that's because I play Stay Night. That logo is fucking tight. Alright, let's go kill Sojiro. He had it coming. Dang, chapter 5. Sojiro returned to his apartment on foot as per routine, under a blanket of clouds in the night sky. The rusty stairs in his apartment building clanged with each step. Out of the corner of his eye, he could see the bicycle parked by the apartment building's outer wall. He debated the pros and cons of a bicycle, how much easier life would be versus the expense, and the convenience versus the necessity. But in the end, decided one was not right for him just now. Clutching the bag of apples under his arm, he took out the keys to his residence. He tilted his head in confusion. More and more he found himself preoccupied with such random thoughts, when the real issue at hand was deciding what to do with the apples he had received. He placed the paper bag by the sink and switched on the lights. It was just after 10 in the evening. With the end-of-term exams just around the corner, he had come home an hour earlier than usual. As he made back for the kitchen to pick one of the apples to snack on, he found an envelope stuffed in his mail slot. The envelope had no name, return address, or stamp. Inside was a single piece of paper that only the sender name in a short message. It read, a concise set of orders neatly written. It was signed Aoko Aozaki. She had been considerate enough to enclose a detailed map on the meeting place. Puzzled, he cocked his head to the side, then headed out the door. Afterward, upon the room so tenant leaving the premises, the envelope burst into flames and evaporated without a trace, as though it had never existed in the first place. Does the map burn too? By the late 80s, Japan's post-war economic boom has somewhat stabilized and the city experienced a period of steady growth. The city modernization marched on, and Japan Railway's train station assembled the new era near completion. In Misaki neighboring town of Yashirogi, a new symbol of its own was about to be born. Yashirogi bread and Kitsuland. It was Misaki's worst investment. Years later, it would be dubbed the fool's gold of an economic bubble, a relic of a bygone age. 10 years ago, Yashirogi renowned Tokitsu Baking Company ran factories all across the nation. Its proprietor was a middle-aged gentleman, then aged 56, by the name of Yurihiko Tokitsu, known affectionately by most as Toppan. He took it upon himself to begin development on an estate on the outskirts of Yashirogi and broke ground of a recreational wonderland that he hoped to be pride of Misaki City. The long-awaited opening came in 1981. After 3 years of investment, this local amusement park, full of all kinds of hopes and dreams, began a short-lived tenure. It covered more than 85 square acres. Its magnificent merry-go-round dazzled all who passed through the park gates. Its roller coaster twisted and turned about the edges of the park like a writhing Japanese dragon. Its Ferris wheel, packed beyond necessity with gimmicks, was said to have tested the limits of modern engineering. Old Yurihiko looked upon his creation and smiled. Only boosting his confidence was the fact that its grand opening was staged during a period of prosperity, the springtime of the world. But, in spite of this, they splendidly miscalculated the balance between aspiration and sophistication. Its mascot, Kitsi, was poorly designed and appeared like a cheap knockoff. The park was stuffed to the brim with bread stands. Even its impossible to navigate mirror maze seemed out of date from the start. There are no dreams to be had at Kitsuland, only nightmarish satire. Numerous trade magazines lambasted Kitsuland's shortcoming, and customer attendance declined. There was even an incident where a 6-year-old strayed from his mother, had an accident, and nearly died. 1986, 5 years after the park opened. The situation had grown from bad to worse, and the park was hemorrhaging money. On top of everything, Yurihiko, who had bet everything on the success of mascot Kitsi, retired, and Kitsuland operations were officially in trouble. And thus, amidst the scorn of nearly all residents of the area, ended Misaki City, one and only amusement park. How do you feel about Mihoyo getting anime but not Tsukihime? Didn't this anime visual novel came out 10 years ago? You just gotta wait 10 years, man, for Tsukihime. And Tsukihime do have an anime. It's by JC Staff. What's more, perhaps best described as a footnote to this typical, the self-proclaimed Parisian artist who designed the mascot, Toki Julik, was said to have snapped his brush in mourning over the closure of the park. Returning to the present. It was midnight, and the Kitsuland of today was a shadow of its former glory. Like a doll, abandoned in a corner of a toy box, the lonely park was illuminated only by the light of the town that continued to live around it. Sojiro closed the Yashirogi guidebook that he had picked up on the way here. The story of its history was almost difficult to believe, but he supposed this was what people referred to as entropy. The park's front gate was unlocked. When he worked here the previous time, the iron fence was locked shut with a rusty chain, but the chain was nowhere to be seen and the gate left ajar. Following the map drawn in the letter, Sojiro quickly made his way inside. Sojiro complained, quite out of character for him. It was probably because, in spite of his naivety, even he knew that something was amiss. That the park was abandoned, this was still trespassing. Unlawful entry, listening, burglary. These were certainly not things, nor perhaps crimes, that Sojiro was proud to do, but...
すまない。お金は払えないんだ。ただで入って申し訳ない。
Money, apparently, is why his conscience was gnawing at him. He clapped his hands in apology toward the statue of Kitsi, in whose eyes the paint had begun to emptily dissolve. Sojiro passed the mascot bleeding red paint from his eye socket and began to walk the night park. The building colors had faded. The collection of machines was rusted. The man-made residents no longer felt the passage of time. Even the ghosts themselves could not endure the disparity between this forsaken place and its previous grand stature. It was like a fossilized stream. There were the ruins of a paradise both created and abandoned by man in reality. The economy... What? How do you spell that? The economy? Economy! There we go. The economy has stabilized, and the standard of living was on the rise. Nobody was overly concerned with the future. These were the remains of a wild, exciting era. His breath turning to white wisps before him, Sojiro continued through the abandoned amusement park. The void of human presence, this was not nearly as frightening as the darkness deep in the mountains. City suburbs can take many different forms, but Kitsyland was unusual for an amusement park in so much as it had been built adjacent to a residential district. The park was surrounded by a forest, but even that, ultimately, was man-made. It was no different from the curtain on the classroom window. If he were to scale the iron fence encircling Kitsyland and break through the 20 yards of forested trees, he could make it back to the familiar townscape. Though the amusement park tended to arouse dread in the city folk, to Sojiro it was little different from the commotion and terror of downtown. The central plaza was as silent as a grave. According to the map, the meeting spot was west of here. Waiting for Sojiro at his destination was a rugged, imposing, magnificent castle, towering before the backdrop of the cloudy night sky. Even for an abandoned park, it was a remarkable structure. If the roller coasters and the Ferris wheel were loud, intense attractions, this was comparatively quiet and easygoing. It was one of Kitsyland's 3 iconic statues and, in a way, the wicked fortress that guided this paradise down the path of closure. Generally speaking, amusement park mazes generally fell into one of the 2 categories. Labyrinths, which disorient visitors with their sheer size, and mirror houses, would disorient visitors with optical illusions. Many of a labyrinth guests enjoyed a brief sense of adventure that it afforded. Over the years, however, it would be usurped by the ever-increasing thrills of new attractions. Such was the way of all trends, the curse of fads. The new must give way to the newer. On the other hand, the House of Mirrors was a time-honored, beloved staple. Even within the confines of the classroom dimensions, well-placed mirrors and well-directed light could both perplex and delight its visitors. And figuring in the cost of maintenance, a well-designed House of Mirrors could far outlive its labyrinth brethren. Even if both types faded into obscurity, they would remain a staple of what constituted an amusement park. However, that didn't mean that combining them would produce double the fun. Together, they transformed from entertainment into an uncanny realm from those who dared to step within could never leave. In a similar sense, Kitsi Mystery Tower Castle was the park's very own otherworld. Indeed, 5% of visitors ended up requesting staff assistance to get out. Modeled after European castles, it was greater than a football field in length, and the interior was further split into 3 floors. 2 floors above ground and 1 below, lined with mirrors from top to bottom, equal parts complex and vast. The maze demanded at least 30 minutes, even from veterans. One visit was all it took to be struck by claustrophobia for hours. It was this labyrinth that now stood in Sojido's way.
真っ暗ってわけじゃないな。電気とかついてるんだろうか。
It seemed that Sojido, unaware what a house of mirrors even was, concerning himself only with its lighting. He checked the letter from Aoko once more. The letter read, "I'll be waiting in the first floor lobby of the House of Mirrors." The meeting place was definitely in there. There was something to see by Elise, as he could just make out light faintly through the open doors. Putting aside suspicions, he headed toward the entrance. What's up, Purple Twig? You remember watching my Tsukihime playthrough? It made you want to play the game? Yeah, man. The game is on sale. So there's that. You started playing last week? Nice. That's good. It's different than Tsukihime. Tsukihime, well, the old Tsukihime OG was like urban fiction, right? This one's more, it's still pretty urban fiction. I just started, so I don't really know. The sound of his steps against the brick-laid path echoed faintly. He was far from the hustle and bustle of the city. It's different. Witch on the Holy Night feels more like a movie. Yes. Yes and no. Yes, the camera angles. But also no. It feels more like a movie book. Because of the, you see these little background, what do you call it, UI? It feels like a book. But also a movie at the same time. I don't know how Nasu does it, but he fucking did it. What a fucking G. The park's clock no longer made tick nor talk, and the winter's bite no longer blew in the night. From within the silence, the stillness would cause any onlooker to hold their breath. Sojido stopped abruptly at the entrance to the House of Mirrors. It feels like a book too, yeah.
ところで青崎、そんなところで何してるんだ?
Oh shit. He called out, turning back toward the plaza. Oh shit, she didn't know that he could see her. The sound rang out, as if someone had dove behind a garbage can and it fell to the ground in their haste. A short silence ensued. For a moment, the abandoned park returned to its previous hush. Fights go crazy though. It might be the highest budget visual novel ever. I believe it. I believe it. I only saw the Alice fight, and that one was pretty good. I liked that one a lot. The first night of Alice fight, that one's good. Resigned to her had been exposed, the girl appeared from a hiding place. Damn, dude, she's wearing her outfit. Oh, just a boot. His voice died in his throat as he took in the sight of the girl's familiar face and unfamiliar attire. This Aoko, with long hair flowing in the breeze, was different from the Aoko that Sojido knew. The resolute stance and posture she took exuded the strength of her will. She stared directly at him, with a sharp eye-piercing gaze. Her eyes were glowing with a dim, phosphoric light, enough to give Sojido pause that he might be hallucinating. You don't know? Is this some remake? Do you know the plot already like with Tsukihime? This is not a remake, this is the visual novel. So the lore with Mahoyo or Witch on the Holy Night is, from what I remember, it's been a long time since I looked at Nasu's shit. But I believe this is Nasu's first work. He wrote this when he was in high school. But he never really published it like that. Until he kind of remake it into a visual novel, which is this one. I think it came out like around 2013, around that era, or 2014, I forgot. And it's like really fucking high budget. It can't be 2013, 2014. I gotta look it up again. Hold on. Isn't the only reason Tsukihime remakes high budget because of Fake Grand Order? Fake Grand Order came out in 2014. Now you got me want to look it up. On the Holy first came out 2012. Where did he get the money from? The Fate Stay Night money. What happened? Fucking Dean Studio Fate Stay Night popped off so much. The Fate Stay Night franchise got really popular, and he just sold all the goods, all the Saber goods. The Saber goods funded Mihoyo. Is that what happened? 2012. How the fuck did he get the money to get this? I don't know why it's so fucking high budget. And why is this like one of the best looking visual novel game even 2026 standard? I don't know how Natsu does it, but he did it. I don't know how you got the budget, but I'm thinking it's probably the Saber merchandise, because I got a lot of Saber merchandise too. The icy coldness and the girl's strength. Oh, it came out like 2012, but the global version came out like I think 2 years ago or something like that, so fairly recently. So this visual novel is a decade old, but that's because it's a decade old only in Japanese. There's like fan-made translations, but it came out like way later because it takes a while. And Natsu writing is really hard to translate, like really fucking hard. This motherfucker just used the word phosphoric light. Like, what the hell does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. You're playing on PC? Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good. 2012, 14 years later, it still looks good. It's still one of the best looking visual novels. So Sojiro lacked a sense of danger, but a sense of imbalance caused even him to feel the malice in the air. It was as though the Yuki Onna, spirit of folklore, had climbed out from a ghost story and appeared here in reality.
Aozaki.
Instinctively, Sojiro took a step back. Surprised, he was starting to feel concerned. An unpleasant premonition rose to the surface, bringing with it a sense of anxiety. In spite of this, he felt obliged to honor urban etiquette by seeing if she was alright.
その顔を見るに何かあったのかと一応聞いておくんだけど。
Without acknowledging him, Aoko took a step forward. You imagine you know more visual novels, but I generally can't think of any better looking visual novels. Can you think of any? I only started, so I'm not sure. To me, I still like Tsukihime Remake because of the background. Remember the Tsukihime Remake, particularly the castles? Remember the castle background or foreground, whatever you want to call it? That's still probably one of the most impressive looking CG I've ever seen in any visual novel. Like, nothing come close to Tsukihime Castle, in my opinion. That castle was fucking godlike. That's not gonna be in an anime. I know that 1000% sure. It's too fucking detailed. So, but I don't know. I just started on this game, Witch of the Holy Knights. I don't know if they have anything like that in this visual novel. But visually, it is really good looking. Her figure, this atmosphere. Sojiro found himself recalling a recent memory. He twisted and nodded. Apprehension melted away and was replaced with a growing realization. The girl before him was very familiar to someone he had seen before, the night in the park, though he had only seen her from behind. With increasing certainty, causing him to swallow nervously, he noted that they might as well have been identical. Wait for the ending for this chapter.
何をしていたかって話なら見ての通りよ。ここで獲物が通り過ぎるのを待ってたの。あなたが入ってから私も入って逃げ道をなくすつもりだったから。
Aoko said, perturbed by the swift change of plans.
そうか。待ち合わせ場所は合ってたんだな。
Sojiro was mightily relieved he had not gone to the wrong place. It was unclear whether he felt confident about dealing with that was to come, or if he had simply failed to grasp the hopelessness of the situation. Aoko ignored his obtuse response and continued.
私はね、しずきくん。嫌いな人とか、憎い人とかは人並みにいるんだ。ただ、ちょっと変なのが敵になるやつの条件でね。
Cold emotion burned in her eyes. Her feet had already moved one step closer to Sojiro. Sojiro's sense of foreboding was growing stronger. Wondering if he had sense was bloodless, he retreated another step. Continued as so, they maintained a distance of just 15 feet.
昔から、私は嫌いな相手でも敵と思ったことはなかったの。でも逆に、好きな相手を敵だと思うこともあった。理由は単純。
She held her right arm out. The light about her was no illusion.
当たり前のことだけど。
Oh, blue! Oh,
私
fuck.
は、私の感情を乱すやつが敵なのよ。
Well, it's not blue yet. Her arm moved again. It was instantaneous. Something shot past Sojiro in the blink of an eye, missing him by just a foot to his left. Did she miss on purpose or he dodged that? Yeah, the background of Tsukihime remake is so good, but you do feel that the design of the Millennium Castle Brunstad could have been more detailed? Before her eyes, a blue light, something akin to a fireball, had ignited from nothing. He finally understood what was happening. I hope they remake Kogetsu Toya. Kogetsu Toya is the only... From what I remember, it's the only... Well, I guess the manga. I don't know about the mangas. But it's the only scenes where you can actually see inside the castle.
ちょっと待った。今のは大変見覚えがある。
She ignored his dim-witted reaction.
外したか。
Damn, she missed? How? Aoko muttered to herself. The fist-sized hole of the blue light had made in the house of mirrors crackled and smoldered. A shot like that could easily cave a human skull, in addition to burning it to a crisp.
ああ、こんな射程で外すなんて、アリスに見られたら自殺者ね。でも、これで分かったでしょ？二度目だものね。
Sojiro backed away swiftly. Things were beyond incomprehensible. He was close to losing the ability to think at all. All he could make out was the figure of the dependable student council president, or at least what he had thought was the president, and the memories of the park the night 2 days ago. He had never experienced anything like this, though most people living in a civilized country would have never seen anything like it either. A lethal weapon that could kill with nothing more than the pull of a finger had a way of suspending the ability of its target to determine between not just good and evil, but dreams and reality, past and future. Yeah, not sure about this to be honest. Maybe she's missing on purpose because she feels so guilty. Because her performance later would imply she could easily kill him. I think she didn't want to kill him. Unconsciously. I think that's probably why she missed. And the more peaceful someone's life had been, the stronger that suspension was likely to be. All that one could think about was the fact that they were alive at the very moment. It was as if he was an unwritten character on a blank piece of white paper. There was no before, there was no after. There was only what came next. This was a very common thought process for anyone staring down the barrel of a gun.
命乞いはやめてね。意味ないから。でも、恨み事ならご自由に。殺す側の義務として一言一句聞いてあげる。
Sojiro is so funny. To him, magical bullets and electricity is about similar levels of familiar. Yeah, he never seen any of that shit before. It's all new. He probably think everyone in the city could probably shoot magic now. By saying it was pointless, she made it sound more like she would not listen to what he had said. However, Sojiro was in such a state of shock that it did not even enter his mind to speak up. All he knew, for reasons unknown, was that the girl in front of him wanted him dead.
嘘つきにも程がある。飛び丸のバカ、何がそんな生き物はいないだ。実際いるじゃないか、こんなお化けみたいなのが。
My arm's going blue. Sojiro felt that if he had said that out loud, the second blast would come even quicker than the last, so he kept it to himself. His mental expletives stirred his mind from paralysis to mere panic. This response came not from the confidence, however. Someday, out of the blue, someone's going to kill me. While it may have seemed like a baseless belief to hold,
そうだった。都会には殺人事件がある。
yeah, he think that shit's normal in the city.
ルールを破れば殺されるのは当たり前だってちゃんと教えてもらってた。
To Sojiro, the situation seemed to be perfectly in line with his inexperience, understanding that the city was a coldly pragmatic place. Yeah, he's thinking it. He thinks Tomomaru set him up. Oh shit. As far as he was concerned at this moment, being killed by a classmate was not something to be so surprised about. In a society where murder was possible, he was able to accept this sort of situation as natural. Of virtually no concern was a series of events that led to Aoko aggression toward him. The only thing that truly confused him was Aoko blue fireball. Sojiro swallowed an audible gulp. To anyone who may have been watching, it was the response of a victim paralyzed by fear.
そういうことよ。ようやく理解してくれたわね。多くは語らないけど、あなたにはここで死んでもらう。魔術は隠匿するものなんて言っても、そっちには関係のないことだし、単に運がなかったって思えばいいわ。大事なのは、私があなたを殺したってことだけだから。
Done talking, Aoko once again lifted her right arm. It was a hum like a machine. Blue light began to revolve about her arm beneath her sleeve. It was taking longer than last time, leading Sojiro to believe that it was going to be much stronger than the attack that was still scorching the wall behind him. The realization caused his panic to heighten.
いや、なんだ、つまり始末するとかしないとか、あの夜のお化けは青崎だったとか、都会は本当に込み入ってるとか、そういうことじゃなくて。
His thoughts become jumbled. His heart pounded like a hammer. This was no time to be standing still. He was not sure if the girl in front of him was really human. And more importantly, even if he could accept the events unfolding before him, when all was said and done.
待て、人殺しはいけないんだぞ。
Even if it was a fact of life in the city, Sojiro was not about to lie down and die.
分かってるわよ、そんなことは。
Okay.
Sojiro
Sojiro screamed, still entirely oblivious, was just the thing to invoke Aoko full wrath. That's like a revolver. Aoko fired a barrage of magical blue bullets. In an instant, Sojiro dashed into the shadows behind him, into the entrance to the House of Mirrors. You said, Aoko with her self-aggrandizing monologues, of course, here it saves Sojiro's life. But imagine she just yapped to make herself feel better and it successfully kill him. That would have been terrible. I'm surprised she didn't kill him.
なんだい、今のなんだ。
But I guess I'm gonna see why. He darted feverishly down the hall. After a mere few feet, he was left completely out of breath. This was due to his shock at seeing yet another attack, fiercer than the first, that he never seen in his life, and because he couldn't shake the thought that if he had moved even a second later, he would be dead. He could not afford to stop. The sound of merciless footsteps closed in behind him.
けど助かった。ここならなんとか。
He threw everything into his leg as he sprinted. A straight, narrow passage about 60 feet long connected the entrance to the main lobby. At this rate, if he could just make it to the lobby, he was sure he would be able to find as many hiding spots as he needed.
助かった。
He arrived in a large open space. This was the first floor lobby. There were 3 passageways. One led to the basement floor. One connected to the first floor maze. The other was a set of stairs leading to the second floor. Sojiro did not particularly care which one he chose, so trusting his intuition, he made a run to the first floor maze. When? You still not sure why she didn't kill him? Because she's her performance versus now versus later in the story. Let's see. Contrast in terms of power and accuracy. Subconscious guilt, yeah, probably. He smacked his head with a transparent wall.
鏡
ええ、面倒だけど、それならフェアでしょ。追いかける方にも逃げる方にも有利不利がある。
A somehow cheerful voice echoed in his direction. There was no need for Sojiro to even turn around. In the very same mirror he had crashed into, he could see Aozaki figure slowly approaching. There you go. She's right there in the little corner. You can see it. How do you do this? There we go. Right there. Bottom right. That's one thing I really like about this game too. It really utilizes reflection. Like you can see Aoko's face in the reflection of the table. And now you can see her from the mirror. That's pretty cool. House of Mirrors magic as well.
それと、1階の奥にある出口は封鎖しといたから。結界じゃなくて。
He doesn't even know what magic is.
やりすぎて封鎖っていうより瓦礫？土砂崩れ？どっちでもいっか。とにかく下手に出口に近づくと崩落に巻き込まれるから。
Might be. Panicked by the impending footsteps, Sojiro groped for the wall. He could see the stairs to the second floor. He did not understand what Aoko had meant earlier, but he at least knew that the first floor was not going to save him.
ま、私としてはそっちのが助かるけど。
You say characters move a lot more, shift in frame, do gestures? It's a lot more dynamic compared to Tsukihime Remake? More animated, pretty much.
形式上、事故死の方が後始末とか楽だから。
Behind him was a creature beyond words. As she continued her idle taunting, she lifted her right arm. Ostentate... I can't say that word, it's too hard. Is that her bones? And that just is a magic whatever. Magic circuit. Even from above her clothes, one could see some kind of strange, incongruous pattern upon her body. The veins beneath her skins. Oh, that's the veins? Her vein? Okay. They made it seem as though something inhuman is circulating her body. Whether out of pity or repulsion, Sojiro stopped for just a moment. Her pursuer evaded his gaze.
普段は塗り薬で隠しているんだけど、今日は特別。魔術刻印って言ってね、魔術師の証みたいなものよ。ほら、光が回ってるでしょ？これがさっきのスナップ。わかりやすく言うと弾丸の元。今日は調子いいし、私魔力を効率よく使うのだけは自信あるし。うん、あと30回ぐらいかな。
Perhaps she was on an emotional high, for her voice had become frightfully friendly. The substance of the conversation could not have been any more unsettling, however.
そもそも何を言っているかよくわからないんだけど。
Japanese VNs love to lord dump in the middle of a fight for no reason. I think that's more of a Nasu thing.
わからない？弾数はあと30発ってこと。そこまで逃げ切ればあなたの勝ちよ。とりあえず今日のところはね。
今日はって明日もあるのかな。
Sojiro knit his brows. Aoko's expressions creased into a scowl at his behavior. Although he was panicking, it seemed that deep down he still did not feel the full weight of the crisis. She knew he still didn't get it. Imagine telling your enemy how much ammo you have left. Wild. I mean, she's popping off though.
宣言はしたわ。自由時間はこれでおしまい。
She can't tell anyone this before. It's her first
ま
time.
だ罵り足りないだろうけど、 ま、その手の時間はキリがないしね。この辺りで諦めて。
It appeared Aoko had prepared this theatrical dialogue ahead of time. Not to allow her opponent time to futile pleading, but to give him the time to curse her, his killer. Such forthrightness was her modus operandi. With this victim, however, it was not going as she had hoped.
とにかくそういうことだから。じゃ、狩りの時間と行きましょうか。
Her voice was void of emotion, and her eyes ruthless as they bored into her prey. This time, Sojiro finally accepted that he was going to die. Did he? Let's see. Saving. Silent as the dead, it stepped into remnants of a dream that had long since seen no visitors. There was no wind this night, nor soul to be seen. It's weird though. Perhaps you know more about this, but isn't the policy of the association of getting rid of witnesses pretty flexible? Did she really have to kill him? Yes, she had to kill him. It's pretty inconsistent on Nasu. But usually, yeah, witnesses have to be killed. Usually. That's why in Fate Stay Night, the first fight, Archer versus Lancer, Lancer went to go kill Shido because he was a witness. And they can't have any witnesses. Did he really accept his fate knowing he has nowhere else to hide? I guess that's what we're going to find out now. Still, it heard the echoes from within, clasped its hands together, and grinned. Its form, with hands clasped, resembled that of a budding tulip. The bearing of this artificial flower reflected in its cloudy mirror of the ticket attendant's office next to the gate. Next to it stood a display board, corroded by years upon years of rust. Force him to sign a contract, wipe his memory, seems so heavy-handed. I think Alice gave her something. A bottle. That might be key. Number of visitors today, 2. Number of blah blah blah, today, blah blah blah. The board had graffiti crudely scrawled atop one of the words. It is replaced with death. The record board had long ago fallen into disrepair. After taking a full 10 seconds to digest what it was looking at, it made its own revision. Number of visitors today? 3. Number of death today? 1. Who's the third visitor? Is that Aoko? I can't tell. It kind of looked like her. It has blue. It's her. After appending this number with an index finger, she smiled like a flower. Then she began to walk toward the source of the sound. It had been 10 minutes since this rhapsody had begun to echo from the House of Mirrors. The amusement park interest returned to as it was before, soulless. In the end, even if Sojiro had been the luckiest man alive, there was no way he should have been able to escape. The question, however, was how much of this was by design, and how much was sheer coincidence. Even Aoko, who had made all the arrangements, had no answer. Indeed, there were only 3 things she could say. It was taking longer than expected. She was putting up more resistance than she had anticipated. Not sure, TBH. You're not that far ahead. Only managed to get the end of this night. But I don't think it's Aoko. It was someone else. Hint, hint. Hint, 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 hint. That's interesting. I don't know anyone else with brunette hair. But it's been a while since I played the beginning. And that choosing the House of Mirrors had been a mistake. She had really screwed the pooch on this one. The location itself was an excellent choice. As the House of Mirrors, it was perfect as a hunting ground. But seeing her own incompetence reflecting in the mirrors was beginning to grate on her. The moment Aoko's right arm began to glow, Sojiro made a beeline for the staircase in front of him. A strobing series of blue flashes lit the room behind him. The hunter calmly followed her prey, and the prey desperately ran for his life up the stairs.
注文通り。そうでなくっちゃお膳立てした甲斐がない。
In stark contrast to Sojiro's frenzied escape, Aoko walked briskly up the stairs. She elected not to run after her prey in order to maintain a set distance. As she lacked confidence in her accuracy, she would be the most challenged if Sojiro bull rushed her and went down fighting. But at a distance of 30 or so feet, he posed no threat. By the time her prey drew near, she could fire 10 shots and hit with at least 4 of them. Their positioning just a moment ago hadn't been ideal. At this distance, in a space this open, there was a chance, however small, that it could turn into a fistfight if he flanked and charged at her. Yeah, these lines from the visual novels are weird. Simply implies Sojiro has some kind of protection from fate itself, or just a convoluted way to say Aoko subconsciously sabotaged herself. Maybe. She says she's not confident. Right here. She lacked confidence in her accuracy. And the House of Mirrors is also pissing her off, because seeing herself make mistakes is even pissing herself off. So it's like a mind game on herself right here. It said it right there. Well, it said it somewhere. I forgot. The mirrors is not a good choice for Aoko, because it damages her pride. And her pride is like she's making mistakes, and she doesn't like that. If she was going to capitalize on that advantage, it was in her best interest not to close the gap between them. If there was a good time to approach, it was only after her prey had become exhausted and had lost the will to continue. Would she pierce his leg, shoot him in the back? Or perhaps would he just give up after losing himself in the labyrinth? No, the lines about the coincidence saving Sojiro from all the shots so far. The hunt would end when her target sustained some sort of injury and became. On Sojiro end, he could barely bite back on screaming as he bolted through the maze. Even running in a straight line had become difficult, much less searching for an exit. The corridor stretched out far before him. Also, the mirrors blocking the path had made it seem. Panicked, he made a turn to the right. Clutching his head on his right arm, Sojiro led to the left, groping through the air to see whether a wall was there or not. He dove down the hall to the left, narrowly dodging the bullets targeting his life. Urged by the sound of approaching footsteps, he ran without thinking. The last one was close. A hair closer would have meant his life. He caught the odor of burnt hair from the back of his neck. He was very lucky. Or perhaps very unlucky. If he was actually lucky, he would not be in the situation in the first place. The second floor of the House of Mirrors was structured like a giant spiral. It moved left, starting from the outside wall. Eventually, it will lead to a dead end. The more he tried to escape, the more cornered he would become, as though he were trapped in a twisted guillotine. His stifled scream threatened to leak out as a complaint. No matter what he did, he was going to be killed. All of his struggling merely served to prolong the inevitable. Yet he ran. No matter how many mirror walls he ran himself into, he ran. Even after crashing so hard that his forehead bled, he saw stars, he ran. Pain shot through him at every turn. The more frantically he ran, the more intense Intensely, he smashed into the visible wall. His body began to understand the rule and begged him not to run anymore. His breath was already ragged after sprinting a couple hundred feet. No matter how he thought about it, this was not normal. This was way too crazy. This was all just a bad joke. If he turned around now, she would apologize to him for taking it too far. His mind had gone blank. His body continued to slam into the mirrors again and again. His feet slowed as they began to believe that perhaps it really was all a joke. But then, he felt a chill, a touch of death upon his neck. It would not be exaggeration to say that Sojiro knew this kind of terrible chill far too well. Ever since he had arrived in the city, he had come face to face with more than one or two near-death experiences. For someone who did not understand the city life, his present predicament was not unlike when he experienced the traffic on the streets or the commuter rush on the station platform. He was far from an innocent babe, unable to comprehend life or fear. Rather, everything he had known became irrelevant when he was flung into a completely different cultural sphere. Even society promises of safety, something urbanities took for granted, with threats unknown. So he was used to this already. Though if he were to be honest, he was dissatisfied with some things. Things superfluous to necessity. His world was overflowing with valueless things, and they were all dangerous in some way. Even the everyday necessities sold at the convenience store were, as far as he was concerned, amazing tools. Civilization had raised the standard of living so high that it had numbed humanity's sense of danger. The city's constant pursuit of wealth and convenience was a poison to the country boy like Sojiro. And he did not have the capacity to accept these conveniences. That it was possible for such conveniences to easily and suddenly be misused and cause unintended accidents had always made him anxious. Why? He had to wonder why he was even here. How ironic. It took the real threat of death to finally make him realize, like a divine revelation, what he failed to understand until now. He had always to expect the unexpected. Near-death experiences were more common than one might think. To begin with, safety was something that came at a price. Being alive meant that the opposite was always looking around the corner. It was just like a streetlight at night. When the sun rose, its illumination would naturally disappear. Another barrage of strange projectiles whizzed mercilessly by him. He caught in the back of his mind the charred remains of someone at the hand of the blue flame 2 nights prior. Somehow this situation reminded him of a horse being led to a dangling carrot. For now he lifted his head and continued to run through the labyrinth. But for what purpose? Though he knew the pain in his chest was very real, he felt disconnected from it. The night sky visibly through the skyline was a muddy ultramarine, no longer resembling the one he knew. He managed to calm himself. Sojiro began to laugh in despair, as though something rather precious had been broken. Nasu tried not to philosophize at every opportunity challenge. Impossible. I was like smiling and laughing, like, what the fuck are you talking about, Nasu? Whoa, there's a street light and the darkness around him. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Nasu? This man's getting shot at. Everything had become meaningless anyway. Even so, his legs somehow made their way forward at the sight of her reflection in the mirror. Like a game of cat and mouse, Sojiro fled through the labyrinth of mirrors. Then after 4 minutes, that strangely unreal tension ended. The night shot of blue light hit inches away from him. It exploded the moment it made impact, launching Sojiro into the opposite wall. Nasu was smoking that good stuff. No, well, he probably didn't wrote this in high school. Like this part at least. He wrote, like, you can think of it like the script, right? Like a rough draft, probably. Like his, like an essay or his first novel. He rewrote it, though, over the years and then published it as a visual novel in 2012. Like, he went back and rewrote it. Because of the Fate Stay Night, after he wrote Fate Stay Night, it gave him more ideas of the universe that he's trying to make and all that shit. Fate Stay Night and Guardian Sinners. Technically, this is his first novel that he wrote, but it's not, I don't think it was ever officially published because he was still in high school. But his first story was Guardian Sinners and then Tsukihime and then Fate Stay Night. And by the time he wrote those three, Guardian Sinners, Tsukihime, Fate Stay Night, he had a good idea what kind of world he wanted to make. So he kind of rewrote Wish of the Holy Night. And that's what came out here in 2012. Nasu is really hard to translate. Yeah. I heard from people that speak Japanese for over a decade, right? They're like English teachers, or they used to be English teachers. And they read Nasu visual novels because they're Fate Stay Night fans, right? And they were reading Tsukihime remake. They were Tsukihime fans too. They read the original Tsukihime. But then they bought Tsukihime remake and they bought it in Japanese because they live in Japan. So it's like their first. And they read it, they were like, this shit's fucking hard. This shit's fucking hard to read. And they were like, what the fuck? This shit's pretty fucking hard to read. And they speak Japanese for like over a decade and are like high levels English teachers. So I'm like, oh shit. That's pretty buff. Yeah, you imagine he had to rework quite a bit to fix with Tsukihime with Aoko. Yeah, well, Aoko, they took the Tsukihime setting, the original Tsukihime setting. Tsukihime was originally in Misaki Town. But I don't know why he did this. But he rewrote whatchamacallit, Witch of the Holy Night, and then he took Tsukihime setting and put it in Witch of the Holy Night. Witch of the Holy Night is now in Misaki Town. I don't know why he did that, but he did that. Comparing Tsukihime fan translate was more literally official translation. I should just say random pseudoscience, some bullshit. That's what he does. He's like a chuny. You know, I remember someone said that. So when someone was like comparing Nasu work and they were reading his shit in Japanese, they said Nasu's a fucking chuny. I'm like, oh fuck. You know, translation of his work, it does sound like a chuny. Yes. Yeah, he literally is. He's a fucking chuny, dude. Forever 8th grade syndrome. I mean, it's godlike though. I do appreciate his work in the world. I too myself. I'm not a chuny like him, but I appreciate it. I like Shadow Garden, so I guess I'm kind of there. Of all the fire he had taken thus far, his shot undisputedly brought him to the closest to death. 4th grade syndrome lowered her down. Groaning, he collapsed to the floor. His back was on fire with pain. He was not bleeding, and was lucky he could still even scream. Yet his body refused to move. Physically and mentally, he still had something to spare. The pain was not so bad that he couldn't get back up. It was just that there was a sunlight above him, and he could glimpse the night sky, the dark of the night sky beyond. The feeling that overcame him was a raw, selfish bout of a grief. Oh, it was just so cruel. To have to stare at that for the remainder of whatever short life he had left. Sojiro Rag breath slowed. For all intents and purposes, he had given up. He had given up fleeing from pursuing footsteps, and perhaps even the root of all his problems.
まあ、青崎に殺されるならいいかな。
Sojiro Shizuki felt things that, in any other circumstances, he would have never felt. Incidentally, Without exaggeration or embellishment, this was the mistake he had ever made in his entire life. Staring vacantly into the night sky above, Sojiro listened as the footsteps drew nearer.
ギブアップ？
It was the closest her voice had ever been to him. Perhaps feeling that he really had given up, she approached his collapsed form. In a dark, mirror-lined corridor, he could not make out her expression. Without a word, Sojiro raised his eyes to meet his murderer.
返事がないならそれでいいけど。調子狂うわ。普通どうして殺そうとするのかぐらい聞くものじゃない？
Aoko spoke from within the shadows. His eyes widened in bewilderment. Now that she had mentioned it, he realized that would have been the obvious question to ask. He had more or less picked up on the fact that he was being killed for learning some secret, but it was human nature to want to know more.
そっか。それはそうなるな。
His simple affirmation. His face was a mixture of resignation and a forlorn longing. He thought for a moment before.
でも言う必要はない。聞きたくないんだ。
He responded in a mature, subdued voice. His response was clear, rather gallantly so.
そう。じゃ、殺すけど。死ぬの怖くないの？
怖いに決まってる。何より痛そうだ。
His face turned wry as he objected, to which Aoko frowned. As nonchalantly as he could, he was honest about his feelings.
そりゃ怖いでしょ。私だって怖いと思うし。でも悪いわね。我慢して。人でなしと罵ってくれて結構よ。今の私は本当にその通りだから。そういった意味じゃあんたと同じ。普通の道徳がないのよ。だから、必要なら人も殺せる。
Sojiro finger twitched in response to her indifferent tone. As if to say that, despite having given up on just about everything, his body could not let those words slide.
人殺しなんて良くないぞ。
分かってるって言ってるでしょ。
Aoko raised her right hand. The light from the crest illuminated her face. It goes without saying that expression was unchanged. She was not crying nor she was smiling. She was a young woman who had excised her feelings. Deal with it was another thing Sojiro could not let slide. Sojiro could read on Aoko's face that she was not herself. She was in pain, and to a degree he had never seen in her.
すまない。ちょっといいかな。
何？ここまで悲壮感を盛り上げておいて、やっぱり逃げるなんてのは却下よ。
He unconsciously smiled at Aoko's ruthless counter and breathed a sigh of relief. He had misread the pain he saw in her face. This was the same Aoko. Sojiro laughed out loud in genuine joy, a laugh that most people would have taken as an insult.
遺言でも聞いてあげようと思った私が甘かった。っていうか、今の小バカにした笑いがあんたの遺言ってことで OK？
いや、そうじゃなくて、あそこにいる人は青崎の友人なのか？
Out of nowhere, Sojiro pointed behind Aoko.
はあ？
Aoko thought it must have been that old overused distraction technique. If this had been a Japanese comedy act, this would be a part where she gave him a whack with a paper fan. But after giving it a second thought, she realized Sojiro didn't have the capacity for understanding old or even new tricks.
あんた何言って。
Perhaps his honest disposition had been to his benefit. Without thinking, Aoko gave in to her curiosity and turned her gaze toward the direction in which his finger was pointed. And there. Oh. That thing has blue eyes. It's a puppet. Something that should not have been there in a maze. Something with a creaking wooden smile. It was the ominous, creepy, uncanny figure of a girl. Damn, I thought that was Aoko. I guess that's the number 3.
人形
An unusual figure with 2 arms and 2 legs stood silently in the darkness. If only for a moment, its beauty, which was even apparent from afar, dulled the insanity of the current situation. Extend, extend, extend. The utterly unknown threat made Aoko freeze on the spot. Avoiding it didn't even occur to her. Humans possess intelligence and knowledge, but when confronted with the unknown, they failed to process what to do and... The shriek escaped Aoko's mouth. The magical attack crossed the 30-foot gap in an instant. The arm of the girl, who had appeared at the rear of the corridor, was slender and quick. They extended to the near impossible length, striking Aoko from behind. Aoko crashed into the wall as she fought back in anguished whimper. The attacker retracted her arm.
Aozaki!
Sojiro sprang to his feet. He darted to her side and used all the strength he could muster to get to her feet. He could not believe how light she was. In Sojiro's mind, Aoko was an extraordinary individual. He expected that if he were ever to touch her, it would be apparent she was far stronger than he. But in reality, she felt about as heavy as you expected a 100-pound girl to feel. Meanwhile, the thing continued to reel its arm as it was some sort of mechanism. Having to extend more than 30 feet from the elbow joint, it clanked as it returned to the previous shape and size.
大丈夫か?
やめてよ。わからないわ。なんでそんな顔できるの?
Aoko tore her hand away from Sojiro. Suddenly, he felt her knees buckle from under her. But Sojiro caught her before she could hit the ground and help her to her
無
feet.
理するな。で、あいつは知り合いか?
He looked back at the eerie shadow 30 feet away as it finished retracting its arm.
そうね。似たようなやつとは命をせめぎ合った仲よ。
Aoko grabbed her lower back as she answered. A searing pain shot through her.
でも、痛いっちゃ痛いけど、打撲だけ。あれだけ絶好の奇襲をしておいて。それとも、この距離じゃ当たっても致命傷にならない。なんて、あるわけないか。何か別の意味があると見るべきね。
Aoko tried to steady her breathing as she assessed the damage done to her back. The pain was quick to fade, and breathing returned to normal. For the time being, her motor functions were no longer hindered. You know one thing I really like about Wish on the Holy Night, Guardian Sinners, Tsukihime. No offense to Fate Stay Night. I do like the enemy of the supernatural. Like Fate Stay Night was cool, but it's the enemy of the heroic spirits, right? And there were some supernatural, but it mostly belonged to the mages. I guess this belongs to the mages too. But I like Guardian Sinners. I don't even know what you call it. I guess there's supernaturals as well, like ghosts and shit, right? And then we have like Tsukihime vampires and shit. What the fuck is well, I haven't started Wish of the Holy Night, so I don't know. What, puppets and shit? Yeah, you like their character designs abilities more interesting? Yeah, no offense to Fate Stay Night. Fate Stay Night is my first type moon, but being bounded to only the heroic spirits, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. The heroic spirit thing is cool, but I like the supernatural a little bit more. Like just regular supernatural shit. Which meant the real damage was elsewhere.
Aozaki, あれ?
分かってるわ。黙ってて。
Blue light glowed across the gloom. The magical energy generated by her breathing was accumulating in her right arm. If magical energy was the fuel, the formula was the lighter. For Aoko, This was a little more than a reenactment of the 2 evenings ago. Excuse me. Next time the puppet extended his arm, Aoko would fire a magic bullet as fast as she could. A battle at approximately 30 feet. As long as Aoko could secure a 2-second window, she could create a counterattack to end their duel. It made its move. With its head tilted down, there was no expression to be seen. In the darkness, its apparent age was impossible to make out. To the 2 humans, the puppet was not dissimilar to a faceless ghost. Damn, it looked like Aoko, dude, the puppet. The Matao family in Stay Night was pretty fucked up shit. Yeah, I guess worms though. I don't know, the worms is okay. Yeah, it's kind of nasty, but dude, the one thing I really like about Fate Stay Night, my favorite enemy, was probably the Holy Grail. And Heaven Feels, the Holy Grail swallowing up everyone, was probably, yeah, that's my favorite enemy in Stay Night. Or antagonist, if you want to call it that. His left arm slowly came up from the grinding sound. His movement was dull, as if the joint were rusty. Nice cheeks. Robot cheeks. Well, I guess puppet cheeks. The right arm, which had been extended earlier, hung in the state. Though the puppet mouth was hidden by his long locks, the sense that it was smiling.
さっきと用途が違う。あれが本命。しずきくん、どいて。
She threw herself into Sojiro and extended her hand. His arm extended at that very moment. The time was impeccable. In a single second, Aoko's snap bullet scored a direct hit on the puppet's arm, throwing off its trajectory and sending it crashing to the puppet's body with a violent explosion. That's his joints? That's not even cheeks? They look like cheeks to me, man. Or at least that is what would have happened if the magic formula had been evoked. What? Oh, grab her hair? Do the hair. She barely avoided being struck once again. When her magecraft failed her, her intuition took over, and she just managed to get away.
やられた。最初のはそういうことか。
She clenched her teeth in frustration, her thoughts racing a mile a minute. Fight or flight. They only had one arm left, which would take time to retract. This was the best shot Aoko had at defeating it. If she could evade the right arm just a fraction, she could get close enough to... Wait, don't press play. In slumber I live, in dirt I rot alone. Today is the day I died and was born. I come to you. Damn man, Chance! And so I pray, unlimited blade works! A crackle echoed through the corridor. The poetic murmurs contained in the magical energy for a mage to perceive. The verse itself is Latin, but it contained hints of the language of the curses, Gander. Originally, there were words meant to curse a hated adversary. However, the puppet was directing the words at itself. Curses beget curses. The victim calls down a curse on a assailant, creating a vicious cycle of negativity. The incantation was meant to do just that. Damn, dude, you know what's sick? I love fucking incantations, dude. However, this was ultimately a one-puppet show. An unprecedented source of power akin to auto-intoxication. As unbelievable as it seemed, the cycle of curses had been turned into a perpetual motion device. What? What? Aoko abandoned the idea of digging her heels in. It was time to flee with all due haste. Damn, she's running in heels. She grabbed Sojiro's hand and ran as fast as she could, deep into the realm of mirrors. The crackling voice continued its murmuring behind him.
Omnis nos peccatorus sumus. Venite domum meum. Lut simile somnium. Et pulvere simile quotidianum. Corporebo.
Yeah, this has some kind of creepy vibe to it, doesn't it? Like when I hear it, I can hear like something moving in the headphones. I guess that's her. Was that me? Ooh, that's not me. That's the soundtrack, I guess. Ooh, it makes me want to take off the headphones. It's creepy. Can you hear it? It's like scratching noise in next to your ear. At least I can hear it in my right ear. Hold up. Oh, that's creepy. I like that. The creepiness is pretty good. It's like scratching noises on your right ear. You gotta hear it really close. Let me hear it one more time. Damn, dude. Who did this soundtrack? Whoever did this soundtrack, whoever else was hired. You're a fucking G. That's creepy as fuck. Nice. Nice OST. Nice villain introduction. That's pretty good. Aoko fought against the pain in her back as she ran through the mirrored corridor. The creepy music box just rattles? Not rattles. Not like sub-bass rattle. You can hear like a scratching noise. You know that scratching noise? I don't know if I could do it like this. Like this? Not like that. It has more physical. It has like more physical noise to it. You didn't hear it? Maybe because you're in earbuds. Earbuds supposed to have more details though, because this is right in your ears. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe you don't have enough bass. Maybe John's right. Maybe it is like sub bass. You probably don't have enough sub bass or bass in your headphones or earphones. She dragged Sojiro by the hand.
Aozaki, 傷は?
別に背骨が痺れてる程度よ。
Well, maybe it's the way I'm
出血もないみたい。
outputting the music. Maybe, I don't know. She cursed inwardly at how much of a mess she felt. Unlike Sojiro, Aoko did not run into any transparent walls. Thanks not to superior sight but rather preparation, she hammered the layout of the building into her memory. And she's like Batman.
そりゃ自分の体だもの。身体管理は基礎中の基礎よ。
Aoko's matter-of-fact answer contrasted with Sojiro's nervous questioning. The corridor grew shorter with each and every left turn. At first, they were able to advance in a straight line for about 100 feet at a time. You can hear it now? Oh, you had to turn up the volume? Yeah, it's really low sound. You had to like, shh, be quiet. You gotta really listen. You gotta really listen to it. Yeah, see, yeah, that's a really good touch on the OST. It made it really creepy. But by now, they were focused to turn a corner every 50 feet or so.
あいつはあの夜の。
多分ね。同じタイプだと思う。貴重なオートマタを惜しげもなく使い捨てるなんて、よっぽどお金持ちなんだろうけど。
Sojiro furrowed his brows. He was grateful that she was answering his questions, but baffled by the strange words she was using.
青崎ストップ。もう随分走ったぞ。あいつは曲がり角一つ分向こうだ。少し休もう。
His words suggested that he was still concerned about her injuries. Aoko shook her head in irritation.
あの距離を狙ってくる相手に通路一つ分のリードは無意味よ。せめて二つ分に行くまで走るの。
Sojiro nodded. With that matter settled, he asked.
なんで俺を連れて行ってるんだ？
逃げられたくないからじゃない、バカ。
Answering curtly, Aoko glared at her naive prey. The two of them headed for the next corner. Their legs began to slow as they rounded one more. Aoko rubbed her back as she tried to catch her breath. Though Aoko had insisted that she was fine, it appeared to have been bravado. Even the usually clueless Sojiro felt the desperation they were in. He stood behind Aoko with his arms folded. When they had a moment, he tried to make sense of everything. First, Aoko had nearly killed him. Though he was saved at the last possible second, it was by a strange, stretchy woman Aoko had burned to ashes 2 nights prior. He could barely make it out that night, but he considered it a her because it looked female. The woman attack wounded Aoko back and forced her to flee. Aoko had taken Sojiro with her, claiming that the reason she did so was to prevent her prey from escaping. In other words,
青崎はまだ諦めてないんだな。
当たり前よ。あんなやつ、仮に2体と半分始末しても、あんた用の余力は残せるわ。
her tone was short, but even Sojiro could see that she was struggling to stay confident. The damage to her body was too much to afford her any optimism. Still, the furry in her eyes refused to accept her circumstances.
中がところどころショートしてる。あの右腕は回路を混戦させるジャミングってわけね。
Though the proper response would have been for her to tremble in fear, she did nothing but shake her fist in anger. The disruption of formulae was only supposed to work on absolute beginners. If it had been her roommate, the arm would have been repelled the instant it hit her, and the attacker circuits burned out rather than her own. It seemed to establish a link to the magic circuits of another mage. It was like presenting your heart on a silver platter. It would be of no use in a battle against a superior mage. And yet, her adversary had been designed to do just that. Coupled with the attacks of areas of Misaki under Aoko's jurisdiction, these last few weeks, it was a clear statement from the enemy, who had revealed itself as a fellow mage 2 days ago. In other words, the puppet saw Aoko as no threat at all.
敵ながら正確な判断だこと。
While she was still angry, the whirlwind of emotion within her started to fade. Her face was that of a hunter, far beyond her years.
なんか俺の時より真剣だな。
まあね、あんたの時は遊びが入ってたし。
うん。
Soshiro was not sure whether to be happy or sad at that.
わからないことだらけで何を聞いていいかわからないんだけど、一つだけいいか。
Aoko didn't respond. Her eyes were focused on the darkness before them. The silence was heavy, and the darkness was like a noose, closing in on them. But Soshiro continued to spite in her indifference.
青崎はあいつも殺すのか。
The stillness fell over them. It was as if the gloom was pulling them in. For them to flip Aoko and pit her against Alice? Clearly working. No response. I think Aoko love for life probably came from Sojiro. Or at least that's how they did in the remake. Because remember the Tsukihime remake prologue? Aoko got really upset at Shiki cutting down the tree. And she told Shiki it's not good just to kill for no reason. Even if it's a tree. Their breathing was the only sound echoing in the dim corridor. There stood Sojiro, forcing her to confront her sins, and a magician girl who continued to ignore him. They spent a few seconds, seemingly frozen in time.
そう。それがあなたのキーワードみたいね。
Aoko whispered in a lifeless tone. Her sigh was tinged in both resignation and contempt.
何？
独り言よ、忘れて。それと、言っとくけど、あいつは人間じゃないわ。信じられないだろうけど、自分の意志で動く人形なの。
The story going.
この前のも、今のやつもね。
We just met a puppet. And she looked like Aoko, for some reason. Sojiro nodded as he processed the information. Not only did he not doubt her story, but he seemed to have accepted it at face value.
なんか落ち着いてるわね、あなた。
まさかもう何が何だかわからないからあまり考えないことにしてるだけだ。ただ人形に関しては別にどうということはない。
もしかして他でも自動人形を見たことあるとか？
都会の人形ってああいうものじゃないのか？
She barely stopped herself from falling to her knees. Of course, how could she have forgotten? She was dealing with a bona fide natural-born moron. As a student who transferred from isolation to mountains like the endangered species, his utter lack of common sense rendered anything miraculously as mundane. His automobiles were moving hunks of metal, then moving puppets were nothing to write home about. Wait, that meant, to him, the incidents from the other night hadn't been extraordinary at all. It might have assumed it was everyday occurrence in the city.
参った。いっぺん頭の中覗いてみたいっていうか、ほんと、ここまで来ると感心するわ。調子が狂うのも当然だった。普通は私に襲われた時点でもっと違う反応をするはずなのに。
Sojiro's a chill guy, yeah.
化け物とか、お化けとかさ。
He's a good boy.
でもあなたにとっては、そういうこともある。で済まされてたわけなんだ。
This makes me want to rewatch Garden of Sinners, I'm not gonna lie. I don't
なん
know.
かバカみたいね、私。
Her strained face returned to normal for a moment. Sojiro is innocent? Yes, he is. It hit her. There had been another way to handle this without anyone getting hurt. But the damage has already been done. There were no do-overs in life, nor should there be. Her own mistaken assumptions had sent that situation spiraling out of control. But now that Sojiro was involved, she had to make sure that her secret was safe with him. Even if there had been another, better option, the ship had sailed. Human relationships are ultimately driven by mutual misunderstandings. They were like tapestries, woven from mismatched intentions. Dude's a literal hillbilly? He's a hick? Yeah, he was raised in the mountains, man. He doesn't know anything. She did not have to kill him, you're right. Because he did not find anything she did was strange. Even murder was not strange. He thought that's normal. Break time was over. There stood Aoko Ozaki and Sojiro Suzuki. Their first ever idle conversation has come to an end. Not that they had a choice in the matter. It was the jarring murmuring from around the corner that cut it short. Damn.
Let me hear
the soundtrack one more time. It's a good soundtrack. No scratching, but staticky, right? Staticky. Yeah, it's only staticky this time. No scratch this time. The enemy was just around the corner, visible in the mirrors parallel to it.
悠長に話してる場合じゃないわね。とにかく今は距離を。
Oh shit, what the fuck is this? Oh, isn't that what Tozuka could do? Oh no, those are different. In contrast to Aoko, elegant blue, and light sweat, malicious red. I thought it was Gander or some shit.
ガンダ打ち。
Oh, it is! It's Gander! It is! Those shots, if you get hit by, you get sick, right? Basically. They were a momentarily flash of light, before she even extended her arm. But the instant she saw the enemy, her dormant feeling erupted once more.
さっきから邪魔なのよ。
She channeled all of her pent-up anger and shunted it in her right arm. The fog that filled the corridor with no magical weaving, but rather a barrier of raw energy. It was equivalent to setting ablaze 3 buckets of gasoline to create a wall of fire, in hope of it would stop an arrow of fight. If the puppet had attacked with its arm, it could have pierced such a wall easily, but because it had loose curses with no definite form, the wall of energy repelled the attack. While it was a huge waste of magical energy, It was the only means Aoko had to protect herself at the very moment. Unfortunately, its protection was reserved for Aoko alone. Sojiro's hand held his hand to his mouth. While the curse had been weakened to the point where Aoko could no longer feel it, it had plenty of effect on Sojiro, who's not a mage. As if it understood the fact. Oh shit. The puppet turned his gaze from Aoko to the unsuspecting human behind her. Ciel? Ciel, your cream, Skydam? Skydam, appreciate the sub, man. Ciel, your queen. Thank you very much. Yeah. Enraged, she swung her arm forward once again. The blue light formed a wall to block the gander for a scant few seconds. It was enough of an opening to exploit. Just as Aoko was forming the wall pointed its right arm as her face and... Before the rocket of death could be fired, Sojiro scooped her up into his arms. How he mustered the strength to do so was a mystery, but he turned his back on the puppet and took off running. Is there a single female lead in Natsuverse that's not psychotic and doesn't try to kill the male lead? Saber? Technically. Hisue. Almost. Hisue only turned Yandir. Yan did it on the Kohaku route. But Hisue technically. Hisue and Saber. That's the only two I can think of right now. It was a nimble sprinter, resembling a deer leaping across obstacles. Sojiro rounded two more corners. What about Saber Alter? She doesn't count. Man, she's not really psychotic. She's being controlled by the Holy Grail. That same thing with Hercules too, technically. Hey, Berserker. He's being controlled by the Grail. It doesn't count. Did we had Hercules in the Grail? I don't remember. He only got swallowed, right? He never really came out. I don't remember. I do remember Saber Alter though. Ignore whatever complaints Aoko was making, and eventually stop in the middle of the second floor. He set her down. Sojiro's shoulder heaved as he caught his breath. As light as she was, running while carrying someone else would make anyone winded. She looked up at him in incomprehension. It made no sense to her. If he had the stamina to pick her up and run, surely he could have stood up and escaped when he had been down earlier. His words were unfiltered as ever. Though right then, fighting for their lives, he lacked some of his usual absent-mindedness. Though he may have turned away because he regretted saying that loud, his words spoke violently. For some reason, it pained Aoko to see him like that. Aoko had no idea why he was relieved, but she gritted her teeth and fought down the urge to snap at him. I got a fucking sneeze. If it has no effect, why she block it? Doesn't make sense. It has some effect. There was no use in yelling at a time like this. It has some effect. Let me read it again. Let's see. Fate, stay, night, gander. Let's see. Right here. Fire like a bullet. Decreasing their physical health when hit. Because the curse properly said it released from the caster finger. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, God. So much fucking ads everywhere. I see. Alright. Blah, 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 blah. Mystic Eyes! Oh, too much fucking spoilers. It lowers the health a little bit. So much energy concentrated. Physical interference, fin shot. Yeah, it lowers their health. Magic circuits, you're immune. Let me see if they even say that on Reddit. It makes you feel sick. They didn't even do a good job explaining that. Let me see. We'll check Reddit. Individual novel ending. Shido get hit by Gander. It didn't have only the effective bullet inflicted a cure which killed him. Curse. A servant with high resistance that the curse has no effect. Both? Oh yeah, she's an angsty high schooler. So if Aoko has high resistance, it probably won't have any effect on her. Curse with doubling effect. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Why did she block that shit? Right? Why did she block it? Is it simple curse? It's a simple curse. The Gander only affects the health of the target aimed, but not able to do external harm. With enough magical energy concentrated, one is able to turn Gander into blah blah blah. Fin shot, which is actually able to do external harm. Okay. When fin shot's not powerful enough to activate the last one, so she stuck the external harming, destroying things and the health deterioration that the Gander has. That's why she says that if it hits in the right spot, it could kill Shido because of the external damage stacks under the health deterioration. The only condition to hit the target because of the curse comes out of your finger depending on how much of the concentrated magical energy is able to have physical contact with things. One example is certain enemies in Witch of the Holy Night that uses Gander, but the shots are a little more concentrated to hit walls. Yeah, I don't know why she blocked that shit. I'll be honest. Maybe Google know. Why did Aoko block Gander? Let's see. Why did she blocks the Gander curse? Oh, what? Is that spoiler? Motherfucker. All right, whatever. Possesses some of the more optimized. But in it, talent, mana control. She instantly erected magical shield. Maybe it's by reflexes. Lots of spoilers. I kind of figured, to be honest, because there's not a lot of characters, and plus you kind of figure out too, because Aoko, older sister, about the puppets that you watch, Guardian Sinners and Heaven's Fields, at least the anime movie of Heaven Fields. There was no use in yelling at a time like this. Above all, she felt that it would have been petty and extreme to voice her annoyance right now.
そうね。注意するのは伸ばしてくる腕だけ。大した相手じゃないわ。
Damn, dude, Google Gemini is pretty smart. What the hell? It can answer that. This time was not a false bravado. Such an enemy would normally be a breeze for Aoko Aozaki, where her shameful negligence had led to the disruption of her magic circuits, making her even less formidable than her enemy. At this point, Aoko had no way of attacking. The only option left to her was to wait for it to expend all his magical energy, but his perpetual curse mechanism made that a non-starter. This game of tag would not end until one of them was dead. She realized that she was in the same position she had cornered Sojiro in the earlier. She glanced at her right arm. She could not imagine how she had gotten into such a mess of her magical energy at more than half of its capacity. This had to be karma for having enjoyed toying with Sojiro earlier.
呆れた。いるところにはいるものね。
Intellect,
神様って。
maybe. She grumbled under her breath as she shifted her focus. She had the feel for the fire but not the igniter, and that killing machine would chase her until the end of time if need be. What she should do next was blindingly clear. She had to get back to
青
normal.
崎。
ごめん、考え事してた。確か。よし、合ってる。しずきくん、そこに横道あるのわかる？
Aoko pointed, but he could see nothing but the walls of the corridor. For one thing, the floor had nothing but left turns, and Aoko was pointing to the right.
2階は中心まで行くと1階に降りる階段があるんだけど、それは私が壊したから使えないの。けど、ここの作りも意地が悪くてね。よく見れば、右に曲がる通路もあるのよ。あとは注意して探せば、1階の階段までショートカットできる。悪いけど、一人で行って。
Aoko turned her back to Sojiro and started walking in the opposite direction of the escape route, and down the long corridor toward the puppet in pursuit.
あいつは無差別だから、ここで壊さないといけない。魔術師は魔術師同士で争うのはいいんだけど、みだりに一般人に手を出しちゃいけないって決まりがあるの。あいつの目的は私のわけだし、結果がどうあれ、
Yeah, she's gonna let him live. If Aoko won, the puppet would be destroyed. If Aoko lost, its objective would be complete and it would shut down. Either way, them going their separate ways mean Sojiro survived. Is what Aoko meant. Though she explained it as if the events were happening to two totally different people.
運が良ければ入り口までたどり着けるわ。
Oh.
それじゃあ、また明日ね。
Oh, she's not gonna kill him tomorrow. Even Sojiro could tell she was trying to act tough, but she had already disappeared around the corner by the time he thought to stop her. Alright, now what are you gonna do, Sojiro?
さて。
Mentally, Aoko bemoaned the disaster she was in. Oh, she's still trying to kill him just tomorrow instead of today? The quality of this puppet was a completely different level compared to the one from the park 2 days ago. An auto-incanting perpetual motion machine was a rarity in and of itself, but this puppet was also equipped for battles with extending arms and gander projecting crystalline eyes. It was a first-class product that, if you put on the market, would sell for hundreds of millions of yen. Although that was only when factoring its value as an antique. For the purpose of combat, it would have made more sense to mobilize a significantly less expensive familiar. To use such a precious commodity as a tool for murder marked this puppet master as a completely different breed of crazy from the enemy she had faced up until now. Whoa.
Verbo insomn, solitare putoris cuniferis.
Excuse me.
Ictius meus obitus dies, et meus natibus dies. Theoberum.
来たわね。
The sound of crackling music box filled the air. Oh, she can hear the music box! Oh, fuck, that's kind of cool. She can hear it too, the music. The automata, animated by its long curses, approached. The corridor measured approximately 30 feet in length. Aoko lay in wait around the corner further down the hall, anticipating the puppet appearance. This was not to buy Sojiro time to escape. Far from it. Aoko concluded that she couldn't make a break for it under the current circumstances. Even if she did try to escape, and by some miracle, made it out of the house of mirrors, that was as far as she would go. Outside with no cover, Aoko would quickly be overtaken and skewered from behind. As long as her magecraft was disabled, escape was impossible. Instead, she chose to force the enemy back. Her situation was not the most favorable, but neither was the puppet's. though this narrow hall gave Aoko no place to run. It, in turn, prevented the puppet from reaching full speed. That was the weak point of this machine. Automata of its era had a tendency to struggle with minute changes in speed.
セット
Seto? The flow energy from her shorted circuits. Her blood flow and magical energy supply were unstable. It would be difficult to construct a formula in this state. All she could do was harden her right arm by imbuing it with as much energy as she could. Doing so turned her arm into an improvised weapon, like a hammer or a bat, assuming she could manage to get into close combat range. This was the best she could do. Let me see what she said. Harden her right arm? Like a hammer? Imagine me, Shido. Dude had to handcraft these circuits for every fight with his mind alone. Yeah. That's why I kind of want to reread this. This kind of reminds me of Shido. Doesn't Shido does this shit too? Like, he's strengthened. But Aoko did it with her arm. That's kind of cool. All she needed now was a plan of attack. The question wasn't what weapon to use, but how to use the weapon she had. Simplest way was to be used to mirror its reflection to hide, and then rush the puppet from his blind spot, except for one major problem. It did not have a sense of sight in the first place. The puppet view of the world around it did not stem from visual feedback, but from mapping the topography of its surrounding. In theory, it was the same as a bat echolocation. The environment could be measured based on the emission and return of high-frequency sound waves. Those chants served as the sensor pulses. As far as the puppet was concerned, the mirror were no better than transparent panes, making even the thought of an ambush laughable.
近づけば近づくほどよりリアルに察知される。本当は遠距離からの狙撃が最適なんだけど、ガン
Oh!
ドを撃ってくるならフィンの一撃ぐらい隠してるわよ。
Hey, we just learned about Finshot in Wiki. That's why she blocked Gander. Because Finshot's the physical form. Like the more upgraded version, Gander. And if Finshot hits her, that's the physical damage. That's why she blocked that shit. Okay, there you go. Gander was a Scandinavian in origin, and considering its simplicity, highly versatile. It was most effective at impairing a target health by pointing a finger. As a single-action magecraft, it was limited to only causing illness, but there was a secret technique said to be the greatest mastery of the Gander shot. The Fin shot. It could do more than cause simple illness. It was a deadly curse that could stop the heart. Oh! That's what Tosuka have too. The wound on her back set her nerves on fire. There you go. Now we know why she blocked that. If she get hit by the Fin shot, her heart stopped. An unarmed girl in a deadly automation. It was clear that she was the one destined for death. She considered her slim chances of survival when... What was that? A vision sent chills down her spine. Quietly, using everything she could to clamp down the feeling, Aoko faced her all too familiar illusion. She clenched her teeth as she kept them from making a deafening clatter. But there, the sensation of fingers crawling up her neck, behind her, the specter stared and laughed. This alone made Aoko want to bolt. On top of it all, when Aoko tried to mentally stimulate the coming fight, she estimated a 2 in 10 chance of dying in the first 5 seconds. 20%. At times her predictions were harsher than reality. If Aoko fought the puppet 10 times, she would die twice. She could not stop herself from visualizing her own corpse. She imagined herself collapsing, crumbling under the puppet's curse. Her eyeballs swollen like a blowfish. Blood and other fluids oozing from every bodily orifice. 1 in 5, 1 in 5, 1 in 5. And 1 in 10 chance of death was bad enough, but 1 in 5, it drove her crazy.
でも
Aoko forced down her heart as she tried to escape from her mouth. Taking a deep breath, she peered at her own reflection. She thought back to that white night, half a year ago. This, she decided, was nothing compared to that. 6 months ago, at the Kwanji estate, a hound of white roses, the wander snatch that appeared from within the thick fog, had killed Aoko 100 times out of 10.
Mea anima immortalis, otem eftura negata sunt. Manis sum, animam definira ambiguum est.
A dark curse shadowed Aoko's daydream. It was only 30 feet away. The puppet rounded the corner. Either side stood in the shadows, their forms indistinct. The puppet gave no warning. Without preamble, it swiftly fired a Gander barrage. Just as Aoko planned, the curses fizzled out as they hit her mist-like barrier of magical energy. The protection would only last a few seconds, giving her just enough time to. A stretchable spear sprang towards Aoko's face.
Bingo!
Bingo. The lethal weapon grazed her cheek. All her experience analyzing the puppet attack pattern gave her the wherewithal to evade the attack by a haired breath. It was one thing if a puppeteer were pulling the strings, but autonomous dolls had their limitation. Aoko had bet everything on this killing machine following a predefined template. The puppet would use a given attack for a given range, and she could adjust her tactics to that. Before his arm had a chance to extract, she charged the puppet. It was a risky gamble, but her overall chances were slim to begin with. The scale tipped to her favor. If her prediction were correct, there were 2 ways she could die. One from a fin shot fired at that range. And the other was if the puppet attack pattern was beyond her ability to foresee. Instantaneous mass transfer, otherwise known as mass displacement. Immediately after Aoko dodged the puppet arm, something smashed into a battlement. A head-on collision from his shoulder felt like a rocket. But where had the ability to propel itself come from? Puppets like this were not built to have the ability to jet around like that. Doing everything in her power to stay conscious in spite of the pain, Aoko could just make out what just had happened. Yes, the puppet arm had not returned to his body. It was lodged in the wall and reeled itself from the other direction. Swallowing her surprise, she hastily pulled herself back up. Her battlement, specifically her diaphragm, had been dealt a significant blow. The attack left her disoriented. Thankfully, the puppet, she was surprisingly lightweight. Her bones and organs were intact, and she had sustained no life-threatening damage. She was having a hard time breathing, however. She was shaken, though she managed to keep her calm. In another 2 seconds, she'd be back on her feet. No, that was 2 seconds too long. She told herself to calm down, that she was already calm. She only briefly lost her bearings. She was fine. She could recover her breath and her vision later if only her body would move.
Intellectus non necessaris est, dies tu escat. O nostro sentiabulat fit. Ratio fix tantum est. Dolores nitium cerebrum fit.
Above her, Aoko could hear the warped noise of a powerful force. She could once more feel the touch of death. The puppet was so close that Aoko could reach out and touch it. It was meant that it could reach out and kill Aoko. By intuition alone, Aoko rolled over to the puppet's right flank. Its arms still embedded within the wall. From here, it could not attack. She had made the right decision and her dizziness faded.
Intellectus non necessaris est, quis quies cat. Nostra sentiabulat fit. Ratio fix tantum est. Dolores nitium creburum fit.
Aoko pulled herself back up. It was her turn. What is it? It looked just like her. It was only an instant. But then, delivering the mirror, she saw an image of herself.
Qui salvatio.
We die? Oh, fuck. What did it do? You don't know if it actually looks like her or only looks like her to Aoko? Sojiro said something different? A blinding brilliant light flash. Laceration appeared across the walls. At the last moment, Aoko managed to thicken the magical energy running through her veins into a primitive form of magecraft resistance. It just barely saved her life from what must have been the puppet ace in the hole. Self-destruct, but Aoko has barrier. The puppet bore a striking resemblance to Aoko. His powerful curse was not satisfied at stopping Aoko's heart, but destroying her entire being. Oh, it's a curse! Aoko did not even have time to be shocked. It was a chance for a counterattack. The puppet balance was unsteady. His right arm still embedded in the wall. Aoko prepared to give his defenseless body a strong kick, but her knees buckled and she collapsed into a heap of the floor.
Solitare putres cuniferis. Ictius meus obitus dies. Et meus natibus dies. Theobeam.
A sudden nausea and lightheadedness overcame Aoko. Her body temperature began to rapidly lower. Oh, it's like a fucking whatchamacallit doll. Was it called voodoo doll? You know where you make a straw doll of the person you hate and then you like stab needles on them and then they will feel it. I wonder if it's something like that, like a hex. That's why it looks like Aoko. And that's why the curses are like towards itself. She noticed it too late. The puppet curses circled the hall. The curse chant that the puppet used as a source of power doubled as a defense mechanism, crippling those who draw near the illness. She bore the full brunt the entire time. She was in close proximity to it. Although Aoko had magic circuits, she was succumbing just as Sojiro had. Languidly, she forced her deteriorating body to jump back. With all the energy she could muster, she forced her way past the exhaustion caused by the curse. However, Aoko's blood pressure took a steep nosedive. Not from the curse-induced anemia, but from what appeared in front of her. They stood in perfect harmony. In front of Aoko was the automata that shared her face, its left arm held out like an arrow. A deadly weapon shot towards and honed in on her heart. Then, a moment before it made contact, the moment she heard the fearless voice, completely out of place in storm of the violence, Aoko's body was pulled forcefully to one side. Once again, the extending arm cut through the empty air. While the puppet quickly retracted his left arm, Sojiro took the brief opportunity to take Aoko by the hand and flee at full speed. Alright. They made it out. Sojiro ran through the corridor as fast as he could, only stopping when he had to put enough distance between them and the puppet.
考えてみると
Though he had saved her, she looked angry rather than grateful. This did not keep Sojiro from saying his piece.
明日はどうも忙しいみたいなんだ
In other words, let's finish this today. A rather awkward proposal. Aoko remained silent. She was also rather angry. Not that she could not figure out what made him tick, nor because he returned after escaping. Not even because he was spouting his typical airheaded lines. It was, she supposed, that instant. The fact that when he grabbed her hand, her mind gone completely blank, Aoko found it unforgivable. What beckoned the response?
あなた、正気？
In the heat of the moment, she blurted it out before she could stop herself.
それとも自殺願望でもあったわけ？私もあいつも、あんたなんか殺す対象に過ぎないのよ。少なくとも、恩を売る相手じゃない。言っとくけど、私、助けられたぐらいで曲がる信念は持ち合わせていないから。
Sojiro nodded, clearly unperturbed.
青崎がそんな可愛らしいもんじゃないのは、この夜だけで骨身に染みてるよ。
She found herself slightly offended.
けど君は勘違いをしてるから、少し正そう。あいつの狙いは青崎だけじゃない。君だけじゃなく、俺も殺す気だと思う。
She was having none of it. Her eyes shot dagger his way.
話は最後まで聞く。どうしてかっていうと、1階の入り口あるだろ？あの細長い通路。なんでかあそこから先に進めないんだ。逃げたくても逃げ出せなくて、仕方なく戻ってきた。
Aoko's eyes widened ever so slightly in amazement. She felt admiration, rather than shock, that her enemy would go to such lengths.
それに、さっきので完全に敵扱いされた。あの人形、こっちをじろっと睨んできたし。いや、一瞬でよく見えなかったけど、生きた心地しなかったな。青崎も気をつけた方がいい。多分よっぽど怖い顔をしているに違いないぞ。
Yeah, there was an accident.
それはご親切にどうも。
うん。なんでこれはもう他人事じゃないんだ。青崎と人形。結論として、どっちが勝っても俺は殺されてしまうんじゃないか？
そうね。そこまでやってるなら、目撃者は消すでしょうね。私みたいに。
だろ？でも、俺はあいつには殺されたくない。
え？
His words were decisive. As Aoko looked up at him, she could swear he was trying to encourage her. It was then that he realized. Sojiro was looking even worse than before.
ちょっと待って。大丈夫なの？あなた。
まあ、醤油を一升瓶飲むよりはマシではない
Soy
かと。
sauce. He tried to make light of the situation, but his forehead was clearly drenched in sweat.
そうか。さっき人形に近づいたから。
How could it possibly be able to withstand a curse that made even Aoko nauseous? She bit her lip, annoyed at herself for not noticing this earlier. Sojiro was such an airhead that she hadn't even paused to consider his plight.
下で隠れていようとか思わなかったの？その方がどう考えても安全でしょ？
She really could not understand him at all.
それは青崎が言うセリフじゃないな。でもまあ、長話をしている時間もない。そろそろ追いついてくる頃だ。
He turned to look down the corridor. The crackling sound of a music box could be heard creeping forth from the darkness. Why did they put a music box on the puppet? It's
君がやられ
funny.
ても俺は殺される。なら、まず奴をどうにかするべきだ。
あなた、何が言いたいの？
She asked a question to which she already knew the answer. She did it to him to put to the test. If he wavered even a little, she would have killed him where he stood.
提案。あいつをやっつけるのに協力したら、俺のことは見逃してくれる？
助けられたぐらいじゃ信念は曲げないって言ったでしょ？それに、あなたに何ができるっていうの？
それは青崎が考えてくれ。得意だろ、そういうの。
The commander who had the overall picture was responsible for delegating roles to their teammates. It was futile to depend on someone who was unable to grasp the situation or evaluate the enemy's strength. Sojiro was proud to share that he knew this. Oh. Made my butt hurt. I sat down too long. He spoke the truth. Aoko was the only one who knew both Sojiro and the automata. That was why he pointed out that following her orders to the best of his ability was the only thing he could do. It may have seemed as though Sojiro had surrendered his capacity for self-taught thought, but in accepting that he was helpless, he was in fact giving Aoko his complete trust.
じゃあ、私の指示に 100% 従うってこと？
ああ。それに、これは恩とか義理の話じゃない。一人だと分が悪いから二人でかかるだけだ。善意でも好意でもない。取引って言わないか？
His eyes spickled, as if this was a bartering in its truest form.
まったく。
This child must have learned that from Tobimaru, Aoko thought. Though she refused to let him see it, she smiled inwardly. Sure, he had gotten the best of her just now, but there were times when defeat was not the worst outcome in the world.
労働と報酬ってわけね。それなら理にかなってる。うん。言いたくないけど。
She relaxed her shoulders and sighed. Her face cracked into a wicked grin, as if her fears had suddenly washed away.
それ、結構私の好みよ。
Aoko repaid Sojiro's trust in equal measures. Hand.
結構きついかもね。あなたの役目。
I think I gotta sneeze again too. Aoko warned Sojiro, moving as fast as she could without her footfalls causing a din of noise. Sojiro remained near the center of the spiral maze on the second floor.
実を言うと、もう一つ用意しておいた仕掛けがあるの。自分でもやりすぎだって呆れたもんだけど、あなたがここに来るのが遅かったから。
ん？仕掛けって俺用の？
Sojiro tilted his head like a squirrel as Aoko freely discussed the final ace up her sleeve.
地下の柱に着火型のちょっとした魔術式を刻んでおいたの。
But she was gonna bury him
中心
alive.
の柱に点火することで、連鎖的に他の柱に仕掛けた魔術も起動する。ジャミングを食らう前に作ったものだから、直接魔力を叩き込めば、一気に、こう、いくわ。
Yeah.
うん。
Sojiro was a little unsettled by how unclear that last bit was.
青崎、こうじゃわからない。できるだけ明確に、どこまで爆破する気だったのか白状してくれ。
White boy explanation of the vampire hierarchy in Tsukihime? Probably. Probably the same
あ
assets.
と、もしかして俺、早まったか？
いや、単なる保険っていうか、追いかけっこの途中であんたを見失ったら、いっそ建物ごと爆破しちゃおうかなって。
Yeah, buried him alive. It was her policy to be thorough to a fault, after all. She laughed, embarrassed to hear herself say it out
い
loud.
くらなんでも徹底しすぎてる。
Faced with Aoko cruelty, Sojiro forget about the situation at hand and protest from the bottom of his heart.
何よ、いいじゃない。そのおかげでなんとかなりそうなんだから。
She shot back. Aoko dashed down the corridor, mumbling things that would have sent Sojiro packing if he heard them. The strategy was simple. Aoko would use the escape route to the right and avoid the puppet while making her way down the basement. Upon reaching the central pillar, she would infuse the formula she had prepared with a magical energy and escape. Once ignited, it would take about a minute for the chain reaction to spread throughout the whole House of Mirror, and another minute for the building to collapse. She would be cutting it a little close, but because she had committed a maze to memory, she was sure she could make it out in time. Aoko assumed that the chain reaction caused by the pillar would clear the barrier that the puppet had placed at the entrance. And even if strong enough to withstand the blast, it would not be able to stay standing once the foundation buckled. Sojiro's escape was assured as long as the formula in the basement was activated. Next came the most important part. The automation was at a disadvantage and the obstacle-laden House of Mirrors was unable to move at full speed. If it was near the center of the second floor and the building collapsed, it would caught up and crushed by it. So the problem was keeping the puppet on the second floor until Aoko could make it down to the
当
basement.
てにしたからね、しずきくん。せめて3分ぐらいは引きつけて。
How would he escape though? He's going to be on the second floor. He doesn't know the place like Aoko. Ideally, he would be able to keep it busy until she could activate the formula. If that failed to work, him lowering it down to the first floor would be the next best thing. She understood perfectly well the danger she was putting Sojiro in, but his lucky streak and running speed were nothing to scoff at.
ただ逃げるだけなら、もしかしてとんでもないことをしてくれるかも、あいつ。
I'm expecting Sojiro to be a complete G, but we'll see. Aoko made her way through the hidden passage of the maze, her hopes pinned on Sojiro. Meanwhile, well out of earshot, Sojiro was readying himself for another desperate chase. He calmed his beating heart, using a method of his own making. What mattered most was that he remained calm. The plan was simple enough, and Aoko's orders was succinct and easy to understand.
10メートルぐらいの距離を保って、できるだけゆっくり通路を3、4周すること。横道は鏡のつなぎ目で覚えて。ここなら左回りで6、3、7、2枚目にあるから、そこをぐるぐる回ってれば比較的安全よ。
It was essentially a looping marathon. As long as Sojiro kept just enough distance from the puppet's extended arm to allow her to track him, she could continue to chase him indefinitely. Simple though the task was, Sojiro was putting his life on the line as bait. And then there was the final order to run as fast as he could to the exit when the building began to sway.
結構じゃなくて、かなりきついんじゃないかな、これは。
He nervously stuck his head out from around the corner. He could hear the sound of the music box on the other side of the corridor. First, he had to make eye contact with it, then head to the shortcut on the right and begin the game of tag. He spotted and braced himself. Closer. Closer. Fearing that her arm could fly at him at any moment, he went over Aoko's instruction in his head.
あれ？
However, he could not quite remember which peen led to the first hidden passage. The third? The sixth? The ninth? It is kind of hard to remember. You gotta give him that. I didn't remember that shit. I was kind of reading it too. That's a lot to remember. No. He was sure that was mistaken. He was confident he had memorized moments ago, but his nerves had gotten the best of him. His head is now spinning. Then, Sojiro realized that the sound of his pursuers was beginning to grow distant, and at an incredible speed. Oh shit, it turned into a spider?
何？
The unusual silhouette of the puppet astonished him. Before it had taken the form of a beautiful girl, but now it made a bizarre transformation and returned to the first floor to pursue her primary target. Oh, he doesn't, the puppet doesn't care about him. Bro, if my life depended on it, you memorize it one way or another? Worst case, I would scratch him into my hand with my nails? I wouldn't have remembered it. I wouldn't have remembered. Oh, fuck, but it doesn't care about him,
いや、
though.
それは。
Sojiro was no longer sure what to do. Before he even had time to mourn his failure, the puppet had vanished out of sight. I'll help, so let me go. Or so he had said, but now he could not follow through.
さて、自分はこれからどうしよ
Damn. Alone, he tilted his head in frustration. He spoke into the darkness as if Aoko would be there to answer him. The plan was terrible. Well, that's what Aoko thought, though. The puppet would attack anyone on sight. That's what she believed. Meanwhile, downstairs, as soon as she arrived on the first floor, Aoko understood what had transpired above her. She did not even have to strain her ears to hear the puppet. Even during its heyday, this attraction had never made sound like the one she heard coming toward her now. It was a sound of despair, as if the horde of monstrous hedgehog was scraping their way past the mirror in her direction. Why did he call it a hedgehog? Is he thinking about Sonic when he wrote this? Gotta go fast.
ドジ
Oops.
3分どころか10秒持たないってどういうことよ。
Rather than buying her time, Sojiro was instead stolen hers. He had one job, to run away. That was all. She cursed him under her breath.
複数の足音ってことは2足から多脚に切り替えたのね。
The echoes made it sound like a dozen of feet were approaching. Aoko's mind conjured an image of a giant six-legged spider tearing his way down the corridor. It was a little wonder that it was so much faster than before. The perception of its surrounding through echolocation was a particular use in the dark. Compared to sight-dependent humans, this automation was far better equipped to navigate its way through the labyrinth of mirrors. It could not keep pace earlier. That had been because its bipedal mode made it less maneuverable. Now the stability provided multiple legs, and gave it a speed that far exceeded that of any human.
どうするどうするどうする
Her thoughts spun out as she tried to come up with a plan B. As all she knew for sure, this was a pivotal moment. As she continued standing still, she had seconds left at most. Even in her current state, she knew she could easily neutralize the bounded field blocking the entrance without casting a spell. All she had to do was feed a little of her own energy into it. Aoko could sprint with all her might for a little more than 3 minutes. The puppet had far more stamina than she did. She could only come up with 3 options. The first was to escape to the exit in front of her. The second was to hide somewhere in a more complicated first floor. And the third was to run to the basement and be stuck like a rat in a trap.
なんだ考えるまでもない。
She made her decision with zero hesitation, moving her stiff legs again with determined strength. The oncoming storm was almost upon her. Her resolve firm, she turned and ran, descending into the darkness. No matter what, the finale should be glorious. This would be the Mirror Castle final scene. 2 humans and a puppet. A young sorceress ran toward the subterranean heart of the castle, while the autonomous antique chased its prey into the depths of a demonic dungeon. A minute later, a faint blue charge would ripple through the castle. That was the main pillar of the deepest depth of the basement. Though not critical to the castle structure, the pillar was a visible symbol of it. The girl concentrated her magical energy into a fist and thrust it at the pillar. This was the blow that would bring down the castle. She imagined destruction as she threw a punch, and that scene blossomed to reality seconds later. It was a simple ignition magecraft, meant to release the dense magical energy engraved into the 4 pillars at the corner of the structure. Using electricity as a switch meant virtually instantaneous activation. Oh shit. It happened swiftly and elegantly. A hammer of destruction descended upon the castle of dreams that had stubbornly resisted its fate for 2 years. It was almost a joyous sound. So, the lifeless and abandoned castle of mirrors set the stage for its final and most spectacular performance. Aoko's magical energy became an electrical charge that activated the magecraft formula engraved into the pillar. The chain reaction would lead to the castle destruction.
ご苦労様。でも思ってたよりくたびれてたのね。これじゃあ1分持つかどうか。
The plaza at the center of the basement. Aoko tried to steady her breathing, while rotating her magic crest at full speed. She wreathed her arms in blue light, fully aware that she could no longer activate another formula. Her labored breathing refused to settle. She stood at the center of the basement. Without being spotted even once, she had managed to make it all the way to the central pillar. It was a 100-meter dash in 13 seconds flat, undoubtedly a new personal best. She spurred on her weakened heart, knowing full well the fate that awaited her.
入れば追ってくる。地下に行けば逃げられない。当然よね。最後まで逃げ回ろうなんて虫のいい話だった。
Hindsight was 20/20. The castle was only a minute away from collapsing completely. If they stayed here, they would both be crushed by the rubble. The puppet certainly did not care. With no life in his own, his sole concern was the elimination of his target, Aoko Aozaki. Indeed, the enemy had been willing to die from the start. She resented her own lack of resolve. It wasn't like her to tuck tail and run from an opponent that didn't fear death.
Vivo insomnum, solita reputores quiniferes. Ictius meus obitus dies, et meus nativus dies. Teobeam.
そもそも自爆覚悟じゃないあれ。六足歩行とフィンの一撃は使いすぎよ。もう呪詛による魔力補給じゃ間に合わない。
Such a perpetual motion device was only as good as the ability to regulate its energy consumption. With so many functions at once, meant it was burning through the field quickly and losing the ability to process the curses that powered it. It was using up all the functions it had been given to achieve its aim. This was the pride of a tool. If such things could have ego, those endowed with sentience could never hope to understand. A beast born to do nothing but run would burn any human who faced his resolve.
ほんと、もったいない。こういう無茶をするのは姉貴だけかと思ってたけど、いるところにはいるもんね。
Oh fuck, she didn't know. I know, I've been spoiled. But Aoko did not intend to sacrifice play here. She respected her adversary now, and she was done regretting her choices. There was no time to waste.
行くわよ。ここできっかり。
Aoko had every intention of paying it back double for what it had done to her. The energy Aoko accumulated exploded out her right leg. She aimed for a single thing, a head-on attack. The enemy responded with a lethal curse that reached for her heart, like a set of talons. Humming with power, it meant to rend Aoko's heart and burn herself out in the process. How much do you actually know about the plot? You mentioned something about playing it before? I don't know anything about this game. I just know Nasuverse, that's it. As soon as she saw it, Aoko kicked the floor as hard as she could. Her long hair swirled through the air as she flipped aside. The lateral move almost sent her tumbling to the ground, but a quick swing of her arm allowed her to regain her balance. A shot grazed her arm, the curse scorching her left shoulder. She did not flinch. Aoko knew she could hold on as long as she continued to avoid a direct fin shot.
Snap.
Nice. Off balance and in pain, it took her half a second to recover. The moment she raised her head, she deflected an attack with a fist full of magical energy. The puppet had a will on its own, his eyes would have popped right out of his socket. It would have been floored, shocked at the strong will that allowed the scourge to perform a series of moves like this. Crack. Aoko's response was instantaneous. While her power was not sufficient to completely direct the arm trajectory, it was just enough to deflect and harmlessly pass her hair. The chant became a curse that robbed Aoko of her vitality. Did it still have something left in the tank? Was it actually indignant? Whatever the reason, Aoko was easily able to resist his weakened defensive maneuver. With a kick! Oh! Glider. And right leg, pulsing with magical energy, shot up to puppet chest from below. Oh. It was much lighter than Aoko anticipated. Or rather, she felt little resistance. The automation weight was determined by his internals, inside of his power source. Ironically, it was superiority of his music box engine that would prove to be his downfall. And she kicked the shit out of it.
Venite, venite, venite. Meum sepulchrum
Hey!
venite.
Did she have to blow up the building? That thing is dead, isn't it? A stuttering curse. Having taken the full brunt of Aoko kick, the puppet bounced from the ceiling to floor, collapsing in the heat. The internal construction had been warped by the impact, leaving the drone and music box that powered the puppet warped as well.
恨むなら設計者を恨みなさい。
Oh no, it's not moving.
ダイナモの一
Looks
つでも
dead.
積んでいれば、もうちょっとは重たくなったでしょうに。
Oh fuck, the building's exploding. Part of the ceiling came crashing down in front of Aoko, snapping her back to her
ところで
senses.
今、どうやってぶっ倒したんだろう。
She was so stunned by her own victory that she forgot the house of mirrors had already begun to collapse.
こっちの方がやばかった。
Yeah, she said she beat her. Defeated her or whatever. At least in Japanese. There was no time to relish in her victory or pity her opponent. Not unless she went to meet the same fate. As the situation stood, she fought it hard to imagine getting out alive. She found it hard.
私が私。
Yeah. She clapped herself on the cheeks to motivate herself anew. This was her bounty for finishing the battle in a matter of a second. Her breath ragged with excitement. Aoko ran for the exit. I feel like she didn't need to do this, bro. She just blew up the building. The collapse was intensifying by the second. Having lost its support pillars, the castle was buckling under its own weight.
この邪魔。
Okay. Escaping from the basement was proving to be no easy task. While she was taking the shortest route possible through the maze, she was nearly crushed by a falling piece of the ceiling along the way. This was the second time, no third, she had to deal with fallen rubble along the way. She destroyed the debris on the stairs with magic bullets as she ran. The automation jamming had long since worn off. The early attack had damaged the vast majority of its function. Exploded. Aoko's breathing was heavy as she ran. Desperation sparked her brain into overdrive. The ceiling seemed to be collapsing in slow motion. Light seemed to flash before her very eyes. Each second stretched into 5. Her frayed nerves made it hard to tell the time. Oh, it's alive! There was debris widowed throughout the stairway, forcing her to crawl up it. She emerged from the destroyed basement into the collapsing first floor. That was the plaza, was still transversible. At all was a miracle in itself. Unfortunately for her, the crucial path to the exit was still intact.
よし、ついてる。
The corridor to the entrance was still intact. The basement maze only extended as far as the plaza, so the entrance corridor wouldn't collapse. Only the ceiling would cave in, leaving the scaffolding surrounded sound intact. Whatever. She got herself this far by telling herself repeatedly that fate would decide whether or not she reached the plaza. Her gamble paid off. It was her lucky day. All she had to do was muster the last of her strength and keep moving forward until... She hesitated for a fraction of a second. Was it naivety or sense of responsibility? She put aside the image that popped into her head and continued running down the corridor.
言っとくけど、時間合わせの余裕はないわよ。そんな上等な作戦じゃないし、お互いできることをやったら最速で出口に向かいましょう。
There was 5 minutes ago. At the time, Sojiro had nodded with trepidation, and Aoko had not bothered to ask herself why.
何様だったの私。今は走ることだけ考えろ。
The corridor was giving out too. If she were to look back, she was sure she would see the building collapsing in on her. She was also sure she had no time to waste doing so. Her luck was fading as fast as the building's structural integrity. It was a small miracle that she had escaped serious injuries up to this point. She could not afford even the slightest slip-up. The ankle sprain, loss of balance, or even a sneeze would be fatal. A simple pat on the back was enough to end it. So naturally... Oh yeah. There was clear as day. From the detritus on the stairway, death had to rise and take her down with it. A corpse that crawled its way up from the depth of hell itself. It was still operational. It was still armed with curses. It had crawled after her, watching as Aoko desperately tried to save herself. The puppet arm shot forward. If Aoko did not turn to meet it, she could see its reflection in the mirror.
E salvate, e salvate, e salvate, e salvate.
Extend, extend, extend. This time she could not dodge it. It was absolutely nothing she could do. The puppet, with her face snagged, sang. For a moment, she could not believe her eyes. It was the last thing she expected to see.
しつこいぞ、お前。
A fierce expression adorned the face of the boy who had been waiting in the plaza. He smashed the puppet's outstretched arm. Anger really did not suit him at all. His weapon of choice is a fire extinguisher. He must have searched the maze for something to use as a weapon. No, never mind that. It was too crazy to contemplate. But had he stayed behind for her? Aoko stopped to feet. She had sworn would never stop moving and extended a hand out to him. Sojiro tossed the fire extinguisher aside and took off running. The end. Pieces of the ceiling continued to collapse like dominoes. They kept moving with dust and dirt following their wake. The shadow raced through the collapsing corridor with all their strength. The castle was in the throes of death. With a massive crash and a cloud of dust, the final chapter of the fairy tale that had been Kissing Land came to an abrupt end. Alright. Sojiro got Riz. This duel to the death was over. For a moment, amidst their swinging emotions, any past enmity was forgotten. The two collapsed on the lawn and basked in the strange solidarity. The ringing in their ears subsided before long. A tremor of such magnitude seemed impossible in an amusement park like this. As the sound of destruction echoed across the park, Aoko addressed the individual at her side. Okay. With the click of her tongue. Wow, the click of her tongue was adorable. Okay. I see what it is, Nasu. The meaning behind it was anything but.
青崎、あいつどうなった？
見ての通りよ。 今頃バラバラしたいになってるんじゃない？
Sojiro sighed, not wholly relieved by her frank response. His reason?
でも、そんな心配より自分の心配をした方がいいと思うわよ。
He wasn't out of the woods yet, after all.
青崎、子供の頃はいじめっ子だっただろ。
可逆趣味はないって自負してるけど。
Baka, probably. Biggest tsundere, Azaki.
それで、今の自分の立場、わかってる？
She sat up and smiled. Sojiro hung his head in shame, wondering why her kind tone and expression were so chilling.
面目次第もございません。
かしこまってもダメよ。あの提案には大前提があったわよね。これは取引だって。あなたが役に立つのなら見逃してあげるっていう。
Oh.
わかってる。だから面目ないって言ってるだろ。
Sojiro made a show of avoiding her eyes, like a pouting child. Aoko was taken aback by the sulky display. Perhaps he was angry at himself rather than her. He was not mad because she would not let him go. He was mad that he had not done his part. Aoko sighed for what seemed like a millionth time that day. She could not figure out what surprised her more, his unconditional kindness or her naive approval of it.
じゃあ、覚悟はできてるの？
そんなのはできないけど、約束だからな。結局は何もしていないし。
It was certainly the case that he failed to do any of the things she had expected of him. But just then, she glanced back at the collapsed house of mirrors. What had he done after failing so spectacularly? Had he searched for the extinguisher so he could use it as a weapon? And waited patiently at the plaza at the maze collapse all around him just because he thought it was wrong to leave her behind? It was a foolish choice and the exact opposite of her choice to run toward the exit without hesitation.
ま、それでよしとするか。
She was satisfied, even as she was shocked at how naive she was being. It was true that he had saved her. She smiled inwardly, admiring, if only for a moment, the bravery he continued to show in the face of such extreme circumstances.
役割は果たさなかったけど、アフターケアは合格だし、約束は守らなくちゃね。
Isn't she nice? With a nod, she pulled herself to her feet.
約束は、ま、いつか守ってもらうとして。
The girl tried to keep a straight face as she offered a hand to the boy still lying on the
結
ground.
果はどうあれ手助けしてもらったし、特別サービスってことで、今夜はもう手を出さないであげる。
So, if he didn't save her life, she would have killed him.
Huh?
What the hell? She bashfully averted her gaze. Though her profile appeared different than it had in the past, it was clearly still the face of a vibrant girl he met the day he first arrived in town.
何？
As if she had felt his eyes on her, she shot him a frowning glare.
いや、突拍子もないけど、青崎は律儀だなって。
He took her outstretched hand, feeling his weight as she pulled him up. She could not help but think that he was about the last person she wanted to hear that from.
ところで、今夜はって言うけど、明日からは。
Oh shit.
さあ、ま、その時になったら考えるわ。
Okay. She shrugged her shoulders as if she was not sure herself. The response was so unlike her that it made Sojiro smile. Was it the solidity of having escaped death together, or their fleeting camaraderie that made them do so? It might have been for this night only, but the air between them was kind and gentle. A lot had transpired, but the midwinter nightmare had come to an end. The pair had overcome many trials and tribulations, and could now leave the mirror realm in their wake. But before that,
随分と身勝手ね。それはあなた一人で決めていいことだったかしら。
Aoko. Alice. It was the voice of a beautiful songbird and a merciless machine, all rolled into one.
アリス。
Her voice quivered as she spoke the name. The lady in black made her presence known. The night was not yet over. Her name is Alice Kwanji. She was a witch whose name struck fear into the heart of Aoko, the avatar of the night who would not allow no witnesses. Damn, dude, is she gonna fight her next? Maybe. But this is still one night. Night of the Witches. She's unreasonable as fuck, not gonna lie. Alice? That's because Alice is a real mage. I mean, Ako's a real mage too, kinda, a little bit. Not really. Ako's a little bit unusual for a mage. But a real mage, leave no witnesses. But that's GG's, GG's. Man, this is one night. That's a long night, man. Oh, Witch on the Holy Night! Is this all gonna be one night? There's no fucking way. There's gonna be multiple nights. This night in particular just had to be long. So anyway, GG's. We'll play more next time. That was really fun. Yeah, it had a really slow start, but now it's picking up pace. This is where the real shit begins. This is where the real shit begins. Alice Aura form. Alright. Well, GG's. Next time. That was good. I want to hear that song again. I guess we can. Oh, extra. Let me hear. No. So many songs already. This one? Oh, there's a lot of this though. There's different versions, right? You can play this with a gamepad. I didn't even know that. No, it's not this song. Damn, dude. What's the other song? Wish to check? Probably not. Elegance? Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore. How you get out? Yes. It's like 12 a.m. Damn, man. 10-hour prologue. Just like a JRPG. 10 hours. Alright. Did anything happen in those 10 hours? Damn, I want to listen to Tsukihime now. This song is pretty good, though. What about this one? What about this? Yeah. Let's listen to this for a bit. Makes me want to listen to it. Alright, any news while I was streaming? No? No news. No Fate Grand Order news. Or Type Moon news. And no visual novel news. Anything happened in the land of visual novels while I was away? Let's see. Tact 2. The Stein Gate. Okay. Excuse me. Tonework? What does Tonework mean? Tonework is a studio. More Masa. I want to read that visual novel. I don't know when. What? 24? Schrodinger cat. Okay. Koihime. Koihime is cool. I like Koihime. It's like Dynasty Warrior, but gender bent, right? August? That's a visual novel studio. Damn, everyone likes Schrodinger cat. Is that a good visual novel? Alright, now you got me fucking curious. Hold on, man. What? There's only 2 people that mentioned Schrodinger cat. And now I'm fucking curious. Is it really that good? So the previous, that's Saya. I had to say that. Where is it? Where is it at? Right here. How you even spell that? You don't. Just copy and paste. Is it on Steam? They said that before that, 2024, it was Tsukihime. Oh shit, I could buy it. It's on Steam. Is it really that good? 647 people played it. That's a lot. Shueisha. I probably won't play it now, but I'll try to remember. My thing is, I like urban fantasy though. I guess it's kind of urban fantasy. Looks really different. Let's see. Okay. When the world is coming to an end, who would you want to speak to one last time? Schrödinger Call is a visual novel that lets you experience pain and salvation of human connection, as if you're turning pages on a picture book. Alright. Oh? So she's calling somebody. Art style looks really good. Mary. Whoa, that looks kinda cool. Yeah, art style is insane too. Oh shit. Hey, this might be really fucking good. It does look pretty good actually. I'll play it. I'll play it. Not now. Because I'm playing Witch on the Holy Night. But I'll think about it. It looks good. I'll play it. I'll play it. I won't buy it now. It'll probably take me 1 month. Oh! Hold on. Who's the developers? Oh, they only made Schrödinger Cat. Or Call, whatever. Shueisha. Shueisha does anime shit. I'll play it. It looks good. I'm interested. Okay. The only reason I'm playing it is because there's like 2 people. I guess technically 3. This guy, that guy, and Cars. And then what really kind of trigger it is like Tsukihime was #1 in 2024. And now they're calling Schrödinger Call #1. Out of all these video games, you gotta look at the video game list, right? Mina the Hollower, people will fucking hype about. Forza Horizon 6, all the weebs fucking hype, right? Driving Simulator in Japan. Pokemon Pokopia, everyone, well, I don't know, Pokemon been kind of falling off lately, right? But still, really popular IP. Resident Evil fucking 9, Requiem. That shit, what everyone was pretty hype about. And yeah, I guess that's it. I think Eugenics too, people were hype about. That's pretty fucking sick that this visual novel just beat all of that. Right? Isn't that fucking sick? That means this game is probably fucking dope as fuck. Keyword probably. We don't know yet. But I guess I'll see. I might play it. One thing at a time. Let me finish Witch on the Holy Night. Then I can think about if I want to play it or not. This song's so good. What am I looking for? What am I looking for when I'm in this sub? I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here. But let's look at food. Red Lobster bring back endless shrimp in a very different way. Aldi. Man, what? Free boxes giveaway. Alright, whatever. You know, Aldi, they don't give you a bag. You have to bring your own bag, or you could buy their bag for like, I don't know how much it costs. I think it used to be like $1 or some shit. But it's probably expensive now. Or you could just like take a box from like them. Like an empty box or just like a regular box they used to hold the bag of chips. And then you can just like put your stuff in the box. So that was a strat. Oh sure, KFC massive menu change. KFC sucks. But let me see. What are they trying to do? Completely overhaul his menu? What does that mean? Global menu overhaul. What? First, after spending years of perfecting his fried chicken, KFC is now focusing more on boneless chicken offering. Okay. Next is launching a new global pantry of sauces. Okay. And lastly, Chain was continuing to lean into his drink with a launch of his beverage platform, Quench. Oh, what the hell? What the fuck? So the global menu overhaul. More boneless chicken, more sauces, and his own fucking drink called Quench with a K? Ew. Was it ever good, KFC? I don't think it was ever good. People always say KFC tastes better out of the state. Like, if you don't live in the United States, KFC tastes good. But I feel like people that like KFC never had real fried chicken before. Including people that's not from the United States. And I mean, yeah, man, I get it. Japan celebrates Christmas with KFC chicken. But, you know, I'm a weeb. I like Japan. But you think Japan got better chicken than the South? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. There's no way. I don't give a fuck about the karaage or some other shit, right? There's no way. There's no way. Korean fried chicken's fire. But there's some much better spot than KFC in Toronto, for example. Korean fried chicken is fire. I had that shit a lot whenever I went to Chicago. But have you ever had Southern chicken before? From a soul food. A local soul food restaurant. That shit is fucking good. I don't think anything can replace that. Never been to America? Well, that gotta be one of the top places. America as in the US? Yeah. So the US have like a couple of places, right? There's the South, there's the Midwest, and there's the West Coast. And then up top we have the East Coast. And every coast or whatever region, they have their own thing. If you go into the South, the dirty South, you get biscuits, fried chicken, depending where you're at, alligator meat. Either in Louisiana or Florida, alligator meat. What else is got like? If you're gonna visit the Carolinas, you gotta have the catfish ready on deck. It's catfish. Oh man. And then you go to fucking Georgia, Atlanta, the peach cobbler. Oh fuck! Maybe because I'm biased because I'm from the South technically. Southern USA. But West Coast got some good shit, and West Coast to me is like Mexican. Because that's where Mexico's is, right? Cali is just North Mexico. So Mexican food, I know for sure for Cali. And then and Asian food too. Asian galore. Asian and Mexican. Cali, you got that shit. Now we talking about New York, I always think about hot dogs and pizza. That's America favorite right there. Hot dog and pizza for sure. And I even go as far, maybe hamburgers too. They say that Texas with the barbecue? No. I never really had Texas barbecue, so I can't really say anything about that. But the South barbecue is pretty fucking fire as fuck. Pretty good. Alright, I don't want to talk about food. I'm getting hungry, man. It's 12 a.m. Yeah, KFC suck ass. Let me see what else they have. So they're gonna have more boneless, more sauces, and their nasty ass own drink called Quench. Cool. Cool. That's the sauce? That looks like ketchup mixed with something. I don't know. It's red. So they're going to try to go for more attendees, huh? All right, all right. Whoa, okay, that kind of sounds dope. Global Sauce Pantry. What the fuck is Chimichurri Ranch? What the hell is that? Chimichurri? What is that? Chimichurri Ranch. I never heard of that before. Argentine? From Argentina? That sounds good. Okay, okay, okay. Hot honey habanero. Hot honey, that's a fad. But I'll take it. I like habanero. What else do we have? Buffalo Ranch, that's like kinda that's everything. Yeah, but that's everywhere. Chimichurri is pretty good. Your favorite sriracha though? Sriracha is good. I like sriracha. I never had chimichurri though. That sounds good. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds good. All right, KFC, you got me interested. What else you got? What else you got, KFC? KFC is building beverage offerings. Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning? Boo. I ain't trying to drink Mountain Dew again, dude. Quench. Whatever. Bobo Refresher Crunch Shake Sparkling Lemonade. Iced coffee? They have coffee in KFC. I didn't even know it. Or they're going to. This platform is currently available in the UK? In Ireland? It will be permanently added menu in Canada, Australia this year. What? Kentucky Fried Chicken. This shit's called Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's gonna be in everywhere but not in the US this year. Alright. So UK, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. Yeah, you guys are lucky. That's kind of dope. I kind of want to try KFC, but maybe not this year. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, let me read this part. But plans to launch them in the US and Australia in coming weeks. We just gotta wait, I guess. We'll wait. We'll wait and see what it looks like. I will try it. KFC might suck ass. But because I'm such a fucking weeb. And all my favorite fucking anime loves fucking KFC. I can't help but like KFC too. Even though I know it suck ass, and every time I eat there, I feel fucking pissed and ripped off, and I'm like, this shit suck ass. Why am I at fucking KFC? Cause I'm a fucking weeb. I'm a fucking weeb. When they had the new ass boneless chicken, I'm a fucking you know I'm gonna get that shit. Boneless chicken chimichurri ranch. That's what I'm gonna get. Alright. Is there anything else to talk about? That's it, right? That was the only food news. Let me double check. Yeah, that's the only food news. KFC is redoing their menu. So, okay. Hey, it's tomorrow Tuesday. Man, y'all lucky. I wish tomorrow was Wednesday, man. Or I guess, oh, tomorrow is Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. It's 12 a.m. over here. Oh, dude. R0 is so close. R0 is so close. Final episode, man. The final episode is coming out tomorrow for season 4. And then they'll take a break and come back in August. That shit's gonna be so dope. I'm ready. I'm super excited to watch the final episode for the first half of season 4. Have you read the web novel? No. I heard it's really hard to read. I heard it's a lot. I heard it's so much to read. And I heard there's also side stories and shit. You haven't seen season 3 or 4, but you read the web novel? I don't know what arc they call it. I forgot. But it's the Pleiades Tower. It's the Pleiades Tower arc. That's what they're currently at in season 4. And Subaru has amnesia currently. So they're at that part. If you read the web novel. Arc 6. I don't know the arcs, but it's the amnesia arc. The Pleiades Tower. That's all I know. It's pretty good so far though. I like it a lot. I don't know. A lot of people say this is favorite season. I think my favorite season is probably the most unpopular one. I really like season 2, but no, I'll take it back. Season 1's still the GOAT. Season 1 is still the fucking GOAT for me. You haven't touched the franchise since the middle of season 2. You didn't like season 2? I like season 2. Season 2 was interesting to me because that's when they explained the, or at least that's when they introduces the witch, and I found that really cool. You stopped reading during arc 7, meanwhile arc 9 is almost over apparently. I heard some spoilers about arc 9. About Krush, that's Krush arc, I think. Was that, yeah, I think that's arc 9. You thought season 2 was decent? It made you want to binge everything up until arc 7? Oh, you just wanted to wait until it caught up so you could binge it? It's a lot to binge though. It's a lot of episodes. But it's good though. They're all really good. They're all really good. It's easy to binge, in my opinion. What's after R0? Dude, when R0 ends on Wednesday, I'm gonna be so fucking sad. I don't have any other anime to watch. What am I gonna watch after R0? What the hell is this? It reminds me of the time you binge all of LTM in 2 exam weeks back in the first year of university. The book is so good. What's LOTM? I know LOTR. Isn't that Lord of the Rings? I don't know what M is though. Lord of Mysteries. Oh, it's a famous Chinese web novel. That's cool. Lord of Mysteries. Hold on. Let me find an anime to watch for the summer. Oh, you know what? I think I never watched it, but I think I know what you're talking about. Oh, this is my anime. Oh, but they changed the art style completely. Oh, that sucks. I guess. I don't know. I was never really in love with the season 1 art style, but hey, I mean, that's gonna be my new favorite anime next season. Ultimate Game. I loved season 1 a lot. Not gonna lie, you haven't seen any anime since AOT finale. How many years ago was that? I don't even know. That seemed like maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe. Feels like it. What else? There's a lot of season 2 stuff. Young ladies don't play fighting games? Skip. I always find it cringe when it's about video games. Anime about video games. I never was into it. Even SAO. Even though I watch SAO. Only watch like season 1, season 2. A little bit of Gun Gal, I guess. And alright, maybe that's different. Maybe I do like anime with video games. I think about it. It's okay. Wish Girl Caretaker? The World is Dancing. Tomb Raider. Village of 999? 99999? A lot of these animes don't look interesting to me, if I want to be honest. I think I'm gonna skip most of it. Too many too, fuck. That's a lot. I think the only thing I'm gonna watch next season is probably dropping this dating sim, that's it. This is the only anime I'm watching next season. I don't know, I'm not a really big fan of this anime. Season 1 was okay. Same thing with this one, season 1 was okay. I wonder if I'll watch season 2. Oh, I do kind of want to watch this one though. People gas this anime up. Saga of Tanya, I kind of want to watch it. I never watched season 1 though. Maybe I should start. Same thing with this one. I like season 1. I don't know if I'll watch season 2. Season 1 was good, but I don't know if I'm not really into historical shit. Saga Tana was pretty good fun. You remember? I never watched it before, but I've seen people like it. I kind of want to watch it too. I guess that's it. Excuse me. I'm only interested in Saga, Tanya, and Trapping and Dating Sim. That's it. Excuse me. I don't know if I'll watch any other anime. I can't watch Bleach. I would watch Bleach, but it's Disney exclusive. And fuck Disney. So I can't watch Bleach anymore. I already know the ending anyway, so I don't give a fuck. I already know the ending with the manga. And it's probably going to be the same for the anime. So yeah. Gotta sell the high seas. The thing is though, I don't even know where to fucking go anymore. So I don't even know where to go anymore. All the seas are gone. Apothecary season 3 is going to be really good. That's fall. What else? And just Apothecary, whatever. Apothecary season 3. Is that what I think that is? Whoa! What the hell? Wait, what? Is this? No, it's not what I think it is. Is it? I don't know. Oh, it's not what I think it is. Damn it. It looked like it. I thought it was like that Danganronpa magical girl anime. I want to read the visual novel. The visual novel comes out July. But I don't know if it's for English. This one right here. Magical Girl Wish Trial. Is basically Danganronpa, but for magical girls. And every trial, a magical girl dies. In a pretty brutal way, too. Kind of like Danganronpa. Yeah, it's magical girl Danganronpa. Kinda. I don't know why they have the trial. The Wish Trial. But I hope they make an anime. It seems kind of cool. I like the concept. I like the concept at least. Probably be a while for it to get an anime, right? Probably a couple of years. Use anime. You wonder that website's going? A lot of websites went down. We'll see. This one doesn't really interest me too much. I don't know. Don't feel too interested on this. Summer and fall seems kind of whatever to me. There's a couple anime I might like. And I'm pretty excited for, but just a little bit. Oh yeah, Bocchi is season 2. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. New friend? Oh fuck, Ocean of Coast season 4. That's gonna be the season finale. I hope they change the ending because the manga ending is so dog shit. That'd be sick. This gonna be a new Yudicam. That's interesting. Oh, what? They're making an isekai. Whatever. The Demon Lord Hatsu Summon a Demon Lord season 3. That's gonna be kind of cool. I don't know if it's allowed though. It's kind of fucking. Is it allowed over 2027? I don't know. Alright, I think I'm done. GG's. I'm too tired. It's 12 a.m. It's 1 a.m. I lied. I have work tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to be really busy. I don't even know if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I think I might get stuck with overtime, but we'll see. We shall see. If I don't get stuck with overtime, I'll play more. We'll play more Witcher on the Holy Night. It's cool. I want to see what Alice going to do. Is she going to fight Aoko or what? Anyway. Appreciate everyone that stopped by. It's been cool. I'm gonna head out. Have a good night. Oh, and Skydam, appreciate the sub again. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the Prime sub on Twitch. Anyway, yeah, have a good night. Bye.